Saturday morning children's soccer. Oh my gosh. Oh, I need to get a Budweiser in me like
I gotta get it in me.
In me. I don't even care how.
I don't even care about the pleasure of drinking it. It's just got to be in my bloodstream.
Just inject it directly to my veins.
Inconceivable!
In a world where laughter was king, on the edge of space.
Ludicrous speed! Go!
Get together, have a few laughs.
Masters of the universe!
I guess we can go and get this show on the road.
We can.
As let's say, and show
let's put it
business
into a van and drive around.
What would we do in that van?
We would do the show live from the van.
That'd be awesome. Can we have candy?
Mitch could drive. Yeah, we could just say, hey kids, there's free candy.
Speaking of Mitch, we are like a little bit delayed recording this episode because our one-eyed producer,
completely dead.
Our one-eyed homeless producer,
was
a complete idiot.
Yeah, totally.
Didn't have anything set up properly.
Nope, none of it.
But that's okay.
There are a lot of cords involved in this.
Yeah.
A lot of cables and electronic devices.
There's a lot of wires. You can't see all these wires.
Nope.
But there's wires, baby. Yep. We wire.
This is not a wireless society.
No, I wish it were.
It's not a paperless society either.
These microphones are wireless.
They are.
Even the microphone's not wireless.
There's a wire on the wireless microphone.
It's transmitted over to the camera wirelessly, but I still have wires.
It's a wireless paradox.
Yeah. Hey, guess what?
What?
I've had a few beers today.
All right.
Yeah, that's always a good time, right?
I've had a few naps today.
So with your multi-naps and my multi-beers,
yep,
I got many beers in me.
Beers and naps.
Fill my face with beers.
Yep.
My manly Michelob Ultras.
I've lazed about with.
Do you think they'll send me free beers if I
hope so.
Advertise Michelob Ultra right there, folks?
Hey, Nestle. Ron gave me this water, but you can send some to me too.
Water. That's not
podcast
water. That's podcast.
This
water.
is
just like ham. Our two
podcast water.
Our two most consistent sponsors for the show. Podcast water and ham.
Ham. You might be eating it right now.
I hope so. Ham in your veins, ham in your mouth. What, ham in your veins?
Hand in your mouth. We've liquefied ham and injected it.
Intravenous ham. Oh. That should be a thing.
Intravenous ham.
Intravenous ham.
Coming this fall to Fox.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So this is episode 13. Am I correct?
Lucky number 13.
And episode 13 would be what again?
Octopussy. Yep.
What?
Octopussy.
What?
Octopussy.
What?
Octopussy.
Okay.
It's a show on TLC. It's about a lady with a medical condition.
She has
eight cats. She has 8 cats. 8 live cats.
8 live cats?
Because she ate live cats.
Pussy is another word for cat, right?
Just
like snatch is another word for
crab.
Oh, vagina innuendos. I love it.
It's just what we do. It's what we do.
Vagina innuendos.
That's where we're going. We're kicking it off.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the Cinemasters of the Universe. We are the Cinemasters of the Universe.
We are.
As you can see right here in front of us.
This
from here all the way down to here. From here to there. In the frame, Cinemasters.
Strike zone.
There's a strike zone right there. Yep. Hey, speaking of strike zones, did you see that Little League World Series kid who crouched down?
I've not.
He was practically sitting on the ground, shrinking his strike zone to nothing.
Wow.
And but the pitcher, the kid, he wasn't phased. He dropped a strike right in
there. Right in there.
Pretty sure though the ump was just going to call a strike no matter what. But then what's his name? Puig.
Yasiel Puig.
Yasiel Puig.
I don't care for him.
Why not?
He's a punk.
Well, he wasn't. Well, he tried
he's
that
a punk
as a Cleveland Indian, not as a Cincinnati Red, because he was a fine, upstanding gentleman when he was a Red. But now that he's a Cleveland Indian,
I can attest to that. I was at a baseball game in Cincinnati, where the Chicago Cubs where they faced off against them. And Pedro Strop hit him with a ball. Cleared the benches. It was a brawl.
As you should.
It was a brawl on the field.
You know what the problem was? He didn't float it.
Nope.
Didn't float it. Because if you're a Cub pitcher, you have to float it.
Did you just say funky butt lovin'?
So you can't give him the
What's the reference?
If you know what it is, then you win.
Write it, put it on a self-addressed stamped envelope, and mail it to us at this address.
But if it isn't written in calligraphy, we do not accept
we throw
your-
those away. We shred them immediately.
We wipe our butts with those.
Yes, we do.
We shred them. We wipe our butt, then we shred.
Yes.
Because if we shred it and then wipe our butt, we're just going to get all of our fingers.
We go through a lot of shredders around here.
And that's gross.
A lot of
We're
shredders.
not about that.
No.
What we are about is movies.
Movies.
Cinema. Cinema.
Anti-suicide campaigns. We are about that.
Once again, that's just the burying the lead of the podcast.
Don't do it.
Hi, everybody. I'm one of your hosts, Ron Avis.
And I'm the Grim Reaper. I mean, Adam Peterson. I'm Adam Peterson.
And whoa, boy, we got a show for you guys.
We do.
We are back. We are bringing you from right off. By the way, guys, we have a new segment name.
We do.
It just came to me.
It just came to him.
Our third segment. I don't
Third
know what we were calling it, if we were calling it anything except maybe the third segment.
The third
But we're going to
segment.
call it Coming Attractions.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because this is a movie-related, movie-themed podcast.
This is a movie-themed podcast.
We're being
It's
clever
really
guys.
about ham.
It's a podcast about ham.
It's a podcast about ham.
Why don't they sell ham in movie theaters?
I don't know.
Just in a box?
It's like
What's popcorn?
popcorn. Oh, you know what I love? Ham
Buttered ham.
sandwiches.
Yeah, ham sandwiches.
Just a whole ham hock. I like, there's no other, I'm not aware of other food items that are sold in hock format.
I want a ham hock sold in one of those movie buckets that they normally put popcorn in. Now, here's the thing. I'm always very annoyed. I hate to go on a tangent, everybody.
Tangent.
But I'm hungry for tangents. You go to the movie theater. I don't know about your all's movie theaters, but we in our chain in our local town, in our city that we live, if you want a movie themed drink, you must purchase the movie themed popcorn bucket.
That is a little obnoxious.
I hate that.
Like, oh, you want the special cup? It comes in a deal where you buy 2 cups and a bucket of popcorn.
For
It's like,
$52.
I wanted one soda.
Just give me the cup, man. But if you were to fill that tin bucket with ham,
Yeah.
I would probably do
I'd buy
that.
2 of them.
Yeah, hell yeah. Just give me the ham.
Just fill it with ham. Just sliced greasy
Just
ham.
wrap it in whatever movie theme thing that I'm going to see that week. I want to see a Detective Pikachu ham.
Yeah.
I
I
would love
want to
that.
see a movie about ham. There's ham.
Is there not?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, there was Babe.
Well, that's like beforehand. It's like the prequel to ham.
The prequel to ham. People are going to see the movie. You're just there to see ham.
Babe 3, and you go and it's just a ham. You're like, oh, something bad happened.
When does he become a ham?
He's just a ham.
This is nonsense. The
Babe
pig is
is a
talking. I
ham.
just want it to be ham. I want to see someone eat a ham sandwich now.
Right now. Write us a letter if right now you're eating a ham sandwich. Mail it to this address. I
Calligraphy, obviously.
really hope when you're watching this, there's an address here and not just my hand.
I'm just going to superimpose ham in your hand
Ham.
right there.
I'm holding. I just took a bite of juicy ham.
We don't have a green screen, Adam, so you need to watch out. I can't just willy-nilly throw graphics in like some sort of George Lucas. Some sort of green
Give
screen
me the pear.
genius.
Give me the pear. Oh, it's a pear.
You don't do that to a pear.
And I'm floating it from
You're
over there.
minding the pear.
I'm floating the pear. The pear was over there. I have to float it over. Floating
There,
the
here
pear.
to there.
Floating pears.
Coming attractions from the end of last episode, we did a little segment that we like to call.
What?
You haven't seen that?
Okay!
That was so out of sync.
It's all right.
That's how we do.
We're not. I'm not Justin Timberlake. He's not JC
One of the other guys.
Chazet.
Is that really a name?
He's not Joey Fatone or Chris Kirkpatrick.
Thought
He's
it was the
definitely not
fat
Lance
one.
Bass.
I thought it was Joey the fat one.
Joey the fat one. That's
Okay.
his mafia name.
Fat Tony. Right on, man. Right on. That is a mafia name. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna start the show ending picking
picking
up
up
from
from
the
where
end of
we
the
left
last
off,
episode.
yeah.
See, I'm confusing myself.
It was to be continued.
Yeah, man. We're
Because they
such
all
a
are.
high concept podcast.
We are.
No, we're gonna start out with what you haven't seen that. Then for our feature presentation, we're gonna be doing
The top movies we're looking forward to September, October, and November
That's right.
of this year.
so leading right up to the big December holiday season. We're gonna go September to November. We're gonna be talking about 10 movies that we are looking forward to see, and probably you should be too.
I just as we were talking about this, I just thought of one I'm just going to toss in there casually at some point.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a theatrical release, but it's a movie that comes out in November.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm just gonna
see.
talk-
There was
I'm
a
gonna-
movie that I was thinking about that's not necessarily a theatrical release, but I don't think it's coming out in November.
Just peppered in there.
I think it's coming out in September sometime.
It could be.
Maybe. Maybe we'll just we'll buck tradition, man.
Ooh.
Doesn't even necessarily have to be a theatrical release. Just it's a movie we're looking forward to. It could be a TV movie.
What are traditions?
I got 5 Lifetime TV movies.
Lifetime television for women.
Ham.
And we're commenting on it.
We're
What?
looking forward to it.
What?
I feel like that's an untapped demographic, like a Lifetime movies.
Yeah.
You know, a podcast
We should
about
do a
Lifetime
whole-
movies starring middle-aged white guys.
Yep. We've got a lot to say about Lifetime movies.
We really do. We talk about it all the time at the avocado plucking factory.
Yes. Where we pluck avocados.
And we place
Inside
them
of
in
a
a basket. A Detective Pikachu basket.
Yes.
Or ham.
Filled with ham.
Whichever one. And then for our third segment, what are we going to be doing?
We're gonna recast some things.
We're going to recast some things. We're going to
We're
do
gonna
it
see
better.
who played it better.
We're going to see who played it better. So that's obviously one of your favorite segments. Mine as well, but I got one for you, buddy. I got one for you.
I can't break my streak. I have to continue being an asshole. I'm an asshole.
I like yours better.
It's all right.
All right, so let's just get right back to the top of the
Let's do it.
show.
Let's do it.
Okay, so
I'm well rested.
my movie, I was doing the 1984. Was it 84? I believe it was 1984. Emilio
Babe, Pig in the
Estevez,
City.
cult classic,
Oh.
Repo Man.
Yes,
And you were doing a Jimmy Stewart movie.
I am. Jimmy Stewart and John Wayne, the man who shot Liberty Valance
I did not realize John Wayne was in that.
from 1962.
You might have mentioned that, and I just was really not paying attention.
As was Lee Marvin.
Lee Marvin?
Lee Marvin.
Is he a game show host?
There was Merv Griffin. That might be who you're thinking of.
Was he in that as well?
No,
He
he
should have
was
been.
not. He should
Merv
have.
should have been in everything.
I wish he was.
Who should start out first?
I want to hear about Repo Man.
You will hear about Repo Man.
I want to hear about Repo.
So here's the thing: Repo Man it's one of those movies that a lot of people cite as a very influential flick. Have you seen Repo Man recently? Did you end up watching it?
I couldn't find it somewhere to watch it, so
Okay.
I have not watched it recently.
So Repo Man is a weird movie. It's a very strange movie. It's of course the prequel of Gordon Bombay,
Yes, the Ducks,
Emilio Estevez.
the mighty Ducks.
Back when before he was a hockey coach, he
Yes.
was a Repo Man.
Before he was a garbage man.
Before he was a garbage man with his brother Charlie Sheen in Men at Work, of course. I actually like that movie.
It is a good movie.
It's not.
It's
but I
fun.
love it.
It's fun. It's fun.
It's got Chainsaw from Summer School in it as a pizza delivery man. And he's basically playing Chainsaw.
I don't feel like Chainsaw had a whole lot of range, and it was
not.
if the things I remember about it was, I mean, it was very punk oriented, and I feel like Chainsaw fits in with that crowd pretty
Yeah.
well.
Well, when you said punk, I was like curious. Are we talking about Repo Man? Because that movie is a very punk rock
Yes.
movie. So yeah, Repo Man's very strange. Emilio Estevez plays Otto. He is this sort of ne'er-do-well, as we like him. He's a punk kid.
He's a scalawag.
He's very young. This is pre, most Emilio
Most.
Estevez movies that you know him from. Pre The Breakfast Club.
This is not the Emilio you know and love.
No, it is really isn't. Because
It's
you're
not.
just used to seeing Emilio in a lot of like more wholesome roles, I guess.
Yes.
More all-American boy. He's just a straight up punk in this. And it has Harry Dean Stanton in it. Harry Dean Stanton is probably the second most famous person in the flick.
Which is saying something.
Harry Dean Stanton of Alien and other stuff.
Was he? I feel like he was.
He was in a cowboy movie, I think.
He was in.
He was in a cowboy movie. How? What kind of cinemaster am I? One of those cowboy movies. I think Harry Dean Stanton would. Can't
Did he
attest
play
to it.
Cookie in City Slickers? Was that what we're?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Obviously, the beard, Harry Dean Stanton. He's a very schlubby guy, but he plays Emilio Estevez's mentor. So that this movie, Repo Man, is kind of two movies. It's the interesting tale of Emilio Estevez sort of fitting in with this. He's recruited in, he's brought into this world of Repo Men, and it has a cast, really colorful, interesting cast of characters that he works with. There's Harry Dean Stanton, who's just this really sort of angry all the time guy. He's his mentor. You got, don't know any of the other actors' names, but we're just going to call the next guy that it reminds me a little bit of that Bringing Out the Dead,
with Nick Cage and Ving Rhames.
Yeah, there's different, different points of the movie, he's riding with different guys.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Like, there's the I think his name was Light. I guess what do they call him? But he was kind of the Ving Rhames character, kind of like, just, I don't know. He
was a cool dude.
Describe this movie? I rely on you to describe movies for me, but you haven't seen this in such a long time. Yeah, he throughout different points of the movie, he rides with different people and he learns different things from different philosophies. So, but it's about the underground world of repo men. People, if you don't know what a repo person does, they repossess cars who, lapse on payments, for whatever reasons. So
they're coming for your automobile.
They're coming for your automobile. And the character's name, his name is Otto.
Which is just kind of ironic.
It is sort of ironic.
Cy Richardson plays Light.
Light, yeah, and he's great. He's awesome. There is, I forget the actor's name, but the guy who plays Bob the Goon in Batman 89?
Yes.
He plays a very interesting character.
Tracy Walter.
That's him. I'm looking at him.
He plays Miller.
Yeah, he sort of works at the repo company. He just stands next to a barrel and burns things most of the movie.
I feel like he does that in real life.
Probably.
I feel like he might be doing that right now.
But he's also kind of the conspiracy theorist. Like he throughout the, anytime he shows up in the movie, he's got these like crazy sort of philosophies that he's
because there's some fairly crazy
out.
Things that happen in the movie that you wouldn't necessarily.
Yeah, well, let me get to that. I mean, so yeah, part of the movie is this interesting underground world of repossessing cars. Then there's this other subplot of an aliens in a, yeah. There's this car driving around and this weird guy behind the wheel. And he's apparently hauling radioactive alien remains in his trunk. That part of the movie, I didn't care for.
You're like, wait a minute.
I don't understand why they had to do this.
Get over the aliens, Harry Dean
There's
Stanton.
so many scenes of just this guy driving around in these broken sunglasses. Like one of the lenses is popped out of his frames. And it's like, I feel like the director's like, this is a really cool choice I'm making here. Like this guy.
This is a very avant-garde choice.
I think so. But it just, random parts of the movie, he stops and he gets into trouble and he convinces whomever it is that's hassling, whether it be a cop, whether it be a rival gang of, because what ends up happening is this car, kind of like in John Wick fashion, like it goes out over the wire that this car is worth like $20,000. If you bring this car in, this piece of crap car, you'll get $20,000. So other repo men, like, they find out about it in 1984 pre-internet world.
There's warring factions of repo men.
There kind of are, yeah. And that's interesting. I like that there are a couple of different warring factions of repo men. There's the Harry Dean Stanton, Emilio Estevez group. And then there's this like Latino group that they have their own business and they're kind of rivaling, going after the same cars, and like very interesting. Like I could watch that entire movie of just that.
Just that.
They didn't have to do this subplot of aliens.
Let's stick an alien in the back of the car.
It kind of reminded me a little bit too of Buckaroo Banzai.
Yeah, I can see that.
just sort of utter nonsense just for
It's
being
just that, like,
nonsensical. For
80s, we're just weird and we don't
we're
really
just
know
weird,
why.
yeah. Like you like weird stuff. We're gonna do weird things.
Let's just make some weird stuff.
Yeah. And
It's
at
like
the end of the
Star-Lord.
movie, Bob the Goon, that guy, the weird conspiracy theory guy, like
Miller.
he and Emilio hop in the radioactive car. Like it's radioactive throughout the movie, but it's progressively getting like more radioactive towards glowing.
Yeah, because it starts killing people, doesn't it? Like people.
Yeah, it's like it's literally killing people. Like there's and throughout the town, as this car is driving around, it's emitting more and more radioactivity. It's like you said, it's making people sick. People are getting like checked in. There's like these places. There's guys walking around in those hazmat suits,
like an outbreak.
Yeah, there's outbreak guys walking around on the side of the road, just taking care of business. All while Emilio Estevez and his ragtag group of Repo men are just going about their daily business. And these two stories are parallel. And I feel like the director, the people who make the movie, and the people who love the movie is like, oh, it's so quirky and funny and goofy.
Well,
We
this
got
is
this
wacky.
weird alien in the trunk subplot we're just going to throw in there. But it's so not necessary. And Emilio and Bob the Goon, that guy, I'm not going to call him by his real name.
That's fine.
He's just Bob the Goon.
Bob the Goon.
They end up getting in the car and taking off like a spaceship, kind of like the end scene of Grease.
I was going to say it's just like at the end
John
of Grease, you're
Travolta
like,
and like
do,
Olivia,
do, do, do,
which is
and
even stranger.
yes.
At least that they're aliens in this car trunk, evidently. Yeah, it's such a weird movie. I would recommend it, but I don't think it's quite the classic that a lot of people make it out to be. I totally can see how it would have a following. There's nothing like it. Buckaroo Banzai, like I said, is maybe the closest thing I could compare it to. It's just a strange movie, but Emilio Estevez is very good in it. I love that he's a punk. He's just like a straight up punk. Enjoyable to watch him in that role because I'm just not used to that.
He Alex Cox, the director, followed this up with Sid and Nancy, so he's very much in that mode. And then
Sid and Nancy.
Sid Vicious from the Sex Pistols.
Oh,
yeah, with Gary Oldman, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, Gary Oldman.
Yep. Okay, now I know what you're talking about. Yeah, but what after that? Like nothing. Really else,
Then a bunch of garbage.
Yeah, just a bunch of garbage.
But
this was like his big movie.
2009, Repo Chick.
I saw that. Wow, that's sad.
When
like 25 years later, you go to Repo Chick, and I have a feeling that not a lot of people saw that.
As a repo chick, wealthy bad girl Pixie and her entourage get mixed up in a devious kidnapping plot that threatens to wipe out the city of Los Angeles.
It makes about as much sense as Repo Man.
This is great. There's continuity with two of the actors.
Oh, I love continuity.
Miguel's, well, they don't play the same characters. I may have, but they were in Repo Man, and they're in Repo Chick.
Like
it's Adele Zamora
it's like
and Miguel
Christopher Nolan putting Tom Hardy in
exactly.
His movies. Yeah, I appreciate
Rosanna Arquette.
I like Rosanna Arquette. Rosanna Arquette was in that in 2009.
Yes.
Happy
Gilmore's grandma. She was in it.
Grandma.
So.
I wonder if she has a kiss mask on at any point.
And she plays Grandma somebody. I don't know. It says Grandma.
Okay, now you're just looking at Happy Gilmore.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna watch Happy Gilmore. You guys have fun.
Watching this movie was just a roundabout way of getting to Happy Gilmore.
Yep, we just wanted to watch.
I was just about to bring up 2009's Repo Chick. We were going to talk about Grandma, the actor.
Grandma.
Just Grandma.
The actress.
Watch, Happy Gilmore instead. You'll probably have a better time. Not
Grandma.
Scratching your head over this weird alien in the trunk.
Alien in the trunk? Gordon Bombay's driving
it's worth seeing, but it's totally of an era of then. Like if you're in your 20s and you're just like, I want to see a movie that people think are really good, you could probably do a lot better. It's a lot more interesting.
If you're disenfranchised with societal standards, this is a movie for you.
If you want to see Emilio Estevez as a punk, as just a shithead little punk, this is a good movie for you.
If you want to see him as a hockey coach, watch The Mighty Ducks.
Watch The Mighty Ducks before you watch this.
Yeah.
Watch The Mighty Ducks a couple of times. Then watch this.
Then watch this. Then watch Mighty Ducks again
as you're falling asleep,
just to kind of clear
with
the
your
palate.
pants undone because you had so much ham.
So much ham.
You're
and
just
so much Emilio.
bursting at the seams. Then watch Repo Man.
Yep.
You will. This is totally a movie that I could see myself falling asleep to, because anytime they would cut to the what you would think would be very interesting, aliens in the trunk of a car just riding across the country. And there's also this plot where Emilio, there's this girl who he picks up, and she has photographs of the aliens in the trunk, and like the government's trying to kill her. There's like FBI agents riding around in like dark sunglasses and little unmarked cars. Like as they do.
That was a big 80s thing.
Yeah.
Oh, the government's after those aliens, just like Mac and Me.
The pinnacle of 80s alien movies.
80s alien movies in a nutshell. Mac
It
and Me.
just doesn't get any better than Mac and Me.
Nope.
All right, I'm done talking about this movie. It was just okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like you're not giving it an enthusiastic.
No, not an
Go
enthusiast.
check it out.
Yeah, no, like I'm not doing a great job with what you haven't seen that. Like I saw Tootsie, and that was legitimately excellent.
The last one you did before this was Bachelor Party. wasn't it?
Bachelor Party, which did not hold up well. It's not one of your better Tom Hanks performances. I prefer Tom Hanks in Dragnet to Bachelor Party.
Dragnet was a good movie.
It wasn't bad, but it did have a donkey ODing. If you're really into Clerks 2 and you really
Yes.
want to understand what Dante and Randall, like
you need
why
some more
the Bachelor,
donkey show action.
yeah, if you're into donkey,
Go to
shows,
Tijuana. If you can't
Go
get
to
to Tijuana,
Go to TJ.
watch Dragnet.
There's
Bachelor
a
Party.
drug overdosing python in that movie.
There is.
I love it.
Goddamn dipshit Rodriguez, gypsy dildo punks! I'll get your ass! Wow, that was intense.
Repo Man's always intense.
Come on, let's go get a drink.
All right, Adam, why don't you tell me about probably what's going to be a much better movie?
The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. It was a John Ford production. John Ford, it's the last film he directed in black and white, I believe. Features Jimmy Stewart.
That classic American actor.
He's a great man.
Mm.
John Wayne.
Another classic
He's
American
a
actor.
man's man. He's a
man's
man.
man.
He's the original cowboy.
He's the kind of guy who just like chews up a leather belt and spits it into a spittoon.
This film is the first time he ever referred to anyone as Pilgrim.
No, really?
Yes.
This is probably the only movie he referred to someone as Pilgrim, and then people latched on to
Pilgrim.
it. Pilgrim.
Hey
That's
there,
Peter
Pilgrim.
Griffin's best impersonation of the dude, by the way.
See?
Merry Christmas. Was it Happy Thanksgiving, Pilgrim? Happy Thanksgiving, Pilgrim. That was his big John Wayne impersonation. Anyway, that everybody loved it.
Is your name Richard Simmons? Yeah.
Tom Hanks is hilarious in every movie.
Every movie. I have AIDS.
Philadelphia. That's the movie
Philadelphia.
we're watching, in case you're
You
wondering.
should watch that
Tom
movie.
Hanks has AIDS in that movie.
He does. It's got Tom Hanks and Denzel Washington.
Denzel doesn't have AIDS,
He does not.
but he is Denzel Washington.
He's still Denzel
He
Washington.
does. He's lawyering it up.
Yeah, he's a lawyer.
He's kind of a homophobe, but he comes around by the end of it.
Yep. He gets woke.
As you were in the 80s, there were a lot of men were homophobes.
Yeah, a lot of AIDS in the 80s too. Everybody was talking about
There's
AIDS.
a lot of AIDS stuff going
Yeah,
on.
people are all about AIDS.
It was in your candy.
You don't hear about AIDS as much anymore.
Nah, you don't. You can just have some you can just take a pill and be rid of your AIDS.
I was like, no
nowadays.
more AIDS apparently. Okay.
You know, it's more of a threat to people nowadays. Gluten.
Gluten.
More people are worried about gluten than they are of
Gluten
AIDS.
is just killing people left and right. It's an unstoppable.
When's there going to
murderous
be the
force.
HBO movie about gluten
The gluten?
terrorizing our community?
The real killer. The silent killer.
Where's the Antonio Banderas role of gluten? Dying, his partner dying in a bed with lesions all over his face
Filled
because
with
of gluten. Because of the allergic reaction, I assume,
Just
to gluten.
Angrily shooting a loaf
Why
of
do
bread.
people hate gluten so much? I think gluten's delicious.
I live off gluten.
I just suck gluten in,
I'm like 70% gluten myself.
I brush my teeth with gluten every morning.
I think if there weren't gluten, I would probably die. Like if you're like, we're gonna get rid of gluten, it's like, oh, I'll be dead then.
Fit myself with a knot around my neck and Jonathan Brandis this thing.
Yep, but we are anti-suicide.
Yeah, don't do it.
Don't do it. Jonathan Brennan.
All right, so tell me more about this
The
movie.
Man
now
Who
who's
Shot
just in
Liberty
it.
Valance. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance.
Okay.
It was I've never been a big Western guy, but I'm kind of coming around to that. The movie was filmed in 1962, and I love movies from the 60s. I don't know why. I feel like movies from the 60s there's just something raw about them that like there's not a lot, like we're used to a lot of CGI, we're used to a lot of in your face, all kinds of different elements of movie making, and in the 60s there was really just like you shot on a studio lot, and you had a handful of sets, and you didn't have a lot of fancy stuff. It was just good characters acting out a good story, and there was something meaningful to it. And so you have Ransom Sodders. That's Jimmy Stewart.
That's his name?
Yep.
His name is Ransom?
Ransom. He goes by Rance. Everyone calls him Rance. He's at the beginning of the movie. He's an old man. Him and his wife Hallie. They come back to Shinbone. They arrive there for.
I love these town names.
It's a good Western town, Shinbone.
Shinbone,
Like,
yeah.
we're going back to Shinbone.
Hang a left at Shinbone.
Yeah, they took the train to Shinbone.
Oh,
There's a train station in Shinbone.
Hells yeah.
There's a newspaper in Shinbone called the Shinbone Star, previously run by Dutton Peabody.
I can't tell if you're making that up.
See, isn't it great?
That's how authentic it is.
And so Rance Stoddard and his wife Hallie, they arrive back in town to bury Tom Donovan, who is that's John Wayne's character. And so the whole thing takes place. It's this story that Rance is telling of, because he's known as the man who shot Liberty Valance.
Okay.
Liberty Valance was an outlaw. He was a ne'er-do-well.
Ooh, another ne'er-do-well.
Quite the ne'er-do-well.
Did he have a flat top like Emilio?
He had a cowboy hat.
Okay, who could tell?
Yeah.
I like to think he probably did.
He probably, he slicked his hair over, I think, in several scenes where he wasn't
You're
wearing
probably right. You're probably
there was a
right.
lot of that going around in the West.
Yeah. Probably had some Dapper Dan going through his
Yes,
hair.
he was not a fop man.
He was flop.
He's a Dapper Dan man.
Name the movie reference. Name the reference from the movie, actually.
Mhm.
Don't name the movie reference. Although you could.
You could
You could.
do it either way.
You could do it my way.
Put it on a postcard, put it in a self-addressed stamped envelope, and mail it to right here.
Make sure that it's in gorgeous
Calligraphy only, please.
or we will shred it and then wipe our butt with it.
We will.
We're gonna get poop like right up in our fingernails
Right all up in there.
if you don't do it.
Yep.
Just
not gonna
try
be-
us.
It's not clean.
We will show you.
We will. There will be a video, an addendum to this video.
You're probably seeing it like over top of us right
Yeah.
now. You're watching.
You're watching
seeing the poop underneath the fingernails
Mhm.
as we talk about John Wayne.
John Wayne.
John Wayne, the Duke, is
The
what they
Duke.
call him.
Uh,
Duke Ellington.
He was. Duke Ellington.
That Duke.
Uh,
The very same Duke.
that is the Duke. Duke Ellington.
Mike Krzyzewski. The
Yep.
Duke. I would love to see John Wayne play Mike Krzyzewski in a movie. There's so many weird things wrong with that, for starters, because Mike Krzyzewski was not like, he was alive when the Duke was alive.
Yes.
He was just a young man.
But yeah, they were not contemporaries.
So it would
Right,
not,
right.
yeah, they weren't contemporaries. To see John Wayne play a man in his 50s coaching a particularly successful college basketball
Yes.
would have not make a lot of sense to people back
No.
in those days, back in the 60s.
Back in the day.
Anyways,
So,
what I do, man, I just shovel heaping nonsense onto your.
I love heaping nonsense. I'm a fan.
It's
all right.
Nice.
So Liberty Valance, he's a bad guy. Back in Rance's younger days, he was a lawyer. He was in a stagecoach on his way to Shinbone, and he's attacked viciously by Liberty Valance and his band of ne'er-do-wells.
He wasn't gently attacked.
No, vicious.
Okay.
It was a vicious attack, in which he survived and was only mildly hurt. But then he goes.
You get an eye patch out of the deal?
No, he didn't. He did have some bandages. He arrives in Shinbone, and he's staying at a. It was a sort of a restaurant. Hallie worked there, and there were two other people that were running the place. And so then he's telling this story, and it's this peaceful little town that's somewhat terrorized by Liberty Valance and his band of ne'er-do-wells. And you have Jimmy Stewart, who he represents this because he's an educated man. And people in town, they don't know how to read, they don't know how to write. He was a lawyer.
He was lawyering it up prior to Shinbone.
And so he didn't want to settle his problems with violence. Everybody's like, "Oh no, if you want to take on Liberty Valance, you're gonna need a gun. This represents a gun."
But he's like, no.
He's like, "No, I use
how we do it
I use the law."
The civilized towns from which I come from.
Yes.
Of the Baltimores.
Yes. The Irving Baltimores of yore.
It's just one guy in a town.
Yep. Irving, Baltimore.
They just walk around in a derby.
Yep.
Everyone that lives there.
Tipping his hat to people.
Very civilized.
And so he ingratiates himself with the townspeople. The big word there, ingratiates. He starts trying to teach people to read. People begin to love him. And at the same time, in this...
It sounds a lot like the movie... what was the movie with Michelle Pfeiffer?
Dude, Where's My Car? Oh, it's nothing like that movie.
With Gangster's Paradise?
Dangerous Mind?
Higher Learning.
Yes, Higher Learning. With Michael Rappaport and
with John Lovitz.
John Lovitz.
I'm just making up.
That was High School High.
That was another movie. I'm just getting on my white teachers mixing it up in an urban city.
There were some Hispanic folk that were learning to read in this movie.
There was a little police car rolling around in the guy's hair.
Yep,
that scene?
I do remember that.
From that, remember Michelle Pfeiffer's, that scene?
I remember specifically from that
she
one
pulled
movie.
up a chair and spun it around.
She spun it. You knew she meant business.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's how, if you're a white person and you're trying to educate a lot of inner city youths of various ethnic backgrounds.
You're trying to just put the crack down.
If you want to establish dominance and let them know who is the boss, take that chair, whip it around to the improper sitting position, and just sit down and face them like, whoa, 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 whoa. That's not how you sit on a chair. It's like, whoa, I think
I would love it if whoever she did that to just spit in her face. The greenest, flimmiest, like just, and it would just sort of hang.
It'd be great if it was a Dilophosaurus from Jurassic Park and just melted her face off.
Same amount.
We're just mixing. This is a total mashup right here.
Bitch, please.
We are going every which way but loose with Clint Eastwood. Oh, look, there's another one added to the pile.
Right turn.
Oh my gosh.
That was the orangutan's name, correct?
Yes. The orangutan.
I'm sorry. Please get back to your movie.
So Clint Eastwood, also known as Duke
spins his
Ellington.
chair around. Gangster's Paradise begins to play. Now what happens next?
So he's this. Tensions continue to build at the same time as all of this is happening, because there's this subplot where Jimmy Stewart, he seems like he's sort of he's pursuing Hallie. They have kind of this, it's not a fully developed thing, but Tom Donovan, who's John Wayne. He claims Hallie is his girl. He's building her an addition onto his house. Or when they get married, they get hitched, as they say in the Old West. We're gonna get hitched, and she's gonna move in here to my house with her. He's got a buddy, Pompey. It's an African American fellow who
says John Wayne's racist. He's got a black friend,
savvy with a shotgun. In many a scene when he was intimidating Liberty Valance, he would reference Pompey, and you'd see him over there with his shotgun aimed clearly at him.
Trained on him.
Like, oh. And so you have kind of that element. You have this frustration, this mounting frustration in Jimmy Stewart's character, Rance, because he's so frustrated. He wants to better these people. He wants to better the town.
The violence.
Like the violence just permeates.
Still perpetuating the violence.
So one night he gets so overwhelmed with it. He's like, you know what? I'm going after this Liberty Valance. You go tell him I want to see him outside. and he takes his little pistol that he's trained with a little bit and he's not very good with, and he goes, Liberty Valance is drunk, but he's still a better shot, shoots the gun out of his hand, shoots his arm, he's bleeding. But then
who's Liberty Valance?
Lee Marvin.
Okay.
He's the near-do-well. Then they have this back and forth, and he shoots him. He shoots him dead, and the town erupts. They're happy. Oh, Liberty Valance is dead, and they've elected at the same time the location Shinbone. They're trying to become a state. So they have states' rights. They want states' rights for their property and things of such.
Yes.
So at the same time, Jimmy Stewart and Dutton Peabody, they are the representatives of this area. Eventually,
He's the editor of
the Shinbone Star.
Yes.
And
Attention.
you're right on the cusp.
You know who would have been able to settle that little episode without violence and bloodshed? LeVar Burton.
He would have.
He would have absolutely opened a book, and a rainbow would have sprung from the book, and a cartoon butterfly, and things would have been okay.
But you don't have to take his word for it. He never makes you take his word.
Absolutely not. Ever.
Ever.
Because if you don't take his word for it, he kicks the shit out of you.
Yeah.
He is a violent man.
Oh my God.
Off camera.
Oh my God.
It is terrible. But anyways, enough gossip, industry gossip.
Yes. The Biz. That LeVar Burton. What a scamp. What
Shorty.
a scamp. So it comes to a head. They are at this there's going to be a vote. They've gone to Capital City.
Capital City.
Dutton Peabody and Rance Stoddard and some of the townsfolk have gone to Capital City. They're trying to decide, who's going to go to Washington. We want some, and there's people that want the location, their geographic location to remain a territory, and there's people that want statehood. And so the people of Shinbone, they're big flowery speech. We want to nominate.
No, that wasn't John Wayne that gave the flowery speech.
No, he was there. He snuck in the back and was kind of.
That would be Jimmy Stewart.
Jimmy Stewart, Dutton Peabody gave the speech because
he's
Rance,
the editor of the Shinbone Star.
He was as he's delivering this, and Rance realizes what he's going to do. He sneaks out the back. He doesn't feel like he's worth that praise because he's like, no, I betrayed my beliefs.
I resorted to violence.
I resorted to violence, and that's what they were trying to slur him. They were this man,
because LeVar was egging him on from back of the bar.
He struck down.
Shoot that motherfucker!
That is exactly that was the one line that LeVar Burton had in the movie.
Shoot that motherfucker!
Got it a hard R rating with that. It went right past PG-13.
That's the only motherfucker in a black and white western from the 60s.
Man, LeVar Burton.
Noteworthy. Shoot that motherfucker.
He's surly. Just a surly fellow in that movie. Just wanted to come out right out of left
for sure
field.
The best part of the movie. That's in the director's cut, by the way.
Quite a turn there. So Rance, he exits the rally. He's going to go back home to the east. He's leaving Shinbone altogether, and Tom Donovan stops him, and he tells him because up to this point he has a perception that he killed Liberty Valance, but in reality, Rance didn't do it.
Oh, so his conscience is cleared.
Tom Donovan tells him, no, I was across the street. I saw the whole thing. I shot him, and the thing was, Rance was justified in his shooting because of the violence that had already ensued. If Tom had been known to be the one that shot him, it would have been murder, and he would have been in trouble. But he's like, no, I'm fine with that on my conscience. It's like, you go, you take Hallie, you do this, you go represent the people, and he goes to Washington. He becomes a senator, then a governor, then he goes back to being a senator. He's done all kinds of great things for the townspeople. So he comes back, and you flash back to the present day where he's an old man, and he's telling this whole story to someone because they wanted to do the Shinbone Star wanted to do an interview with him because he's this famous senator that's come back to Shinbone, and the guy tears up his story and he throws it in a potbelly fireplace. They're like, you're not gonna print the story.
It's beautiful, man.
And
Did you work on that?
I didn't. I just busted that one
Oh,
out right there. It's
wow.
just right there
Just
off the
from
cuff.
the hip?
Yep, shooting from the hip,
Nice.
as they did in the West.
As they did in the West.
And he said, he told Ransom Stoddard, he said, "This is the West, sir. When the legend becomes the truth, you print the legend, not the story." And so everyone had known that he was the man that shot Liberty Valance. Like, we're not gonna go back and tell people, no, it was Tom Donovan. It wasn't this guy that did all these great things, and that's why we elected him. So they said, nope, we know the truth now, but we're gonna sweep this under the rug. You're the man that shot Liberty Valance. You did all these great things. And it ends, it's Rance and Hallie on the train riding back to Washington, D.C., and he decides, you know what? How about when we get back to DC, I finish this bill, and then we leave DC and we come back to Shinvo and we live here happily ever after. She's like, oh, if you only knew how many times I dreamed of that. And it ends happily ever after. And there's
the music swells,
like,
and that's it.
And you're like, I love Jimmy Stewart, I love John Wayne, I love LeVar Burton.
This is an old-fashioned movie.
It is. It's an old-fashioned kind of
Don't
tale.
make them like that anymore.
Nope. And
what did your dad think of the movie? You watched it. I assume you watched it with your dad.
I watched it with my mom and my dad. They had seen it at the Palace a couple of years ago, and that's why I knew they were fond of the film. So I wanted to watch it with them. And my mom.
I want to see a movie at the Palace sometime.
I would like to see one of the Hitchcock movies. I think they do the Hitchcock movies there from time to time.
Let me know if you ever do that.
Yeah, I would love to see Rear Window there. That's my favorite Hitchcock film, and probably that and Harvey are my two favorite Jimmy Stewart films. I'm a big Jimmy Stewart fan.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would highly recommend this movie to people who are open to watching old movies. I know it's not a lot of people think old movies, black and white movies.
I don't think there's anything wrong with old movies at all.
I love watching old movies because there's in this movie. I mean, there's a handful of sets. You know, you got varying degrees of characters. It's funny because I'll watch these old movies. I was telling this to my parents last night when we were watching, after we got done watching it. It's funny to me. The guy that played the sheriff, Link Apple, I kept calling him Applewood, but it's not Applewood. I think it was Link something or other. He was the guy that did the voice for Friar Tuck in the Disney.
I love that guy.
The Disney Robin Hood movie.
Yeah.
But it's funny because there's these caricatures of people.
He had a cameo in Back to the Future too. 30.
Yes.
30.
Yes.
Yes. In the Midwest.
But and he was in a number of films.
Better run, squirrel.
Yep, Andy Devine is his name.
Nice.
But it's funny because there's all these.
I like that this has become like your classic corner.
It is because the next one, and I don't know if I'll be able to save it because I want to watch it now. Yeah. I've never seen The Dirty Dozen. And Lee Marvin's
on my list as well.
So I may buck tradition and just go watch The Dirty Dozen and have to do another one the next time we do what you haven't seen that. But yeah, I highly recommend the film. It's 2 hours long. It's black and white. It's mostly character acting. So if that's not your cup of tea, then you probably won't enjoy it. But it's a fun story. Good actors.
So we got one recommend and one
maybe
lukewarm recommend. Very thoughtful, all of it. You let people know what the story was. It's much better than my recalling of Repo Man, where I could not rub two coherent sentences together to save my life.
In fairness, you've had a few beers, and I've had a few beers. I've had a few naps.
It's difficult to make heads or tails of Repo Man.
The Repo Man is a tough one.
It is tricky.
I mean, if you were doing Blank Check with Brian Bonsall, I'd have said, "Hey, you're good at that's you got."
Yeah, well, the kid, he writes a blank check and he gets a lot of money, and then he spends the money on things that a little kid would do.
And you got.
If only I hadn't seen that movie, I could use
Miguel Ferrer as
it has Duff.
Yes, Karen Duffy.
Karen Duffy. I had a major crush on her.
She was an FBI agent that worked at the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Undercover.
So sad.
You had
this is a VJ from the MTV.
Tone Loc, also in the film. Tone Loc.
Who was the limo driver? Who was in the Burbs?
Yes,
Ray from the Burbs.
Yes, he's one of those guys. You'd see him in different places. He was in Groundhog Day. He was one of the.
He was.
He was one of the guys that drove with Bill Murray after bowling. Yeah.
You're a persistent cuss, Pilgrim. You really aim to hang that up outside somewhere?
That's why I painted it.
Well, take some advice, Pilgrim. You put that thing up, you'll have to defend it with a gun.
All right. Well, that was our segment
That's
there.
it.
That was our coming
Good night,
attraction
folks.
section.
Drive safe.
No, we got more.
there's more.
We have more.
There's more.
So we're getting right into the feature presentation, guys. Segment 2. We're going to talk about movies that we're looking forward to seeing. 10 movies, in fact.
10.
Not just a few, not just 5, 7, or 9, but a full 10 movies coming out from September to November 2019.
AD.
These are movies you're going to want to see, folks. Movies that we want to see. They may or may not be on Lifetime. That's enough of that. I gotta stop. I gotta shorten that. So I gotta just talk over the top of it the whole time.
I like it. I want it to stay the way that it is.
All right, so I started with Repo Man. Why don't you go ahead and knock it, like get us let off. Lead off. You're the leading man. You got no outs. Top of the first inning. You're batting lead off. You gotta get on base. Get us on base, Adam.
All right.
Sports metaphors.
I have ranked mine. As I do. I also, as I didn't know if we had an order that we were going to go by. So I also have them by date order.
I listed mine by date, but I'm not necessarily going to reveal them by date.
We had a little powwow prior to recording, and so I'm gonna shoot straight out of the gate.
Just go for it.
I'm gonna buck tradition.
Don't be conservative.
I'm gonna throw caution to the wind with my list, and I'm gonna start it right out with exactly.
Is anybody there? Who said that?
Tom Hanks, Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Coming out
nice.
November 22nd.
November 22nd. I mean, everybody in America should go see this movie.
It's Mr. freaking Rogers. And it's Tom Hanks.
And it's Mr. Tom Hanks.
It's Tom Hanks as Mr. Rogers. And it's just the day the trailer came out, everyone lost their minds with it. It was everywhere. Everybody was posting
cry
on
even
Facebook.
Just watching the damn trailer.
Oh, you're sitting there and you're just like, yep, I'm gonna go to this movie. I'm gonna love it, and I'm gonna cry.
I'm gonna cry
because
I'm booking it.
It's Mr. Rogers.
I'm gonna have myself a bad day.
It's just he's gonna make you feel better. He's gonna make you sad because he's not with us anymore. But then you're gonna be like, but he's still in my heart.
Oh my God!
And you're gonna smile.
Loves Mr. Rogers. How could you not want to see? What's wrong with you people?
Yeah,
see it.
Don't denigrate the man.
Of course, you're gonna see it. This is gonna be the big holiday movie.
This is gonna be at Thanksgiving time. This is the one. Families are gonna get together.
The families are gonna see
Everybody's gonna go see this.
They're gonna go see whatever like animated cartoons. Gonna be like Frozen, I guess. Probably
Frozen 2 comes out.
Yeah.
Same weekend, I believe.
Same weekend. So yeah, people are gonna go see Frozen in droves, but then they're gonna go see this. Like it's gonna have long legs.
Yeah. It's this one. I
Cindy Crawford legs.
Could this be? I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out there just to get your 2 cents on it. That's what they say sometimes when you're asking about someone's opinion. 2 cents.
2 bits. I say 2 bits.
2 bits. Shaving a haircut. But will it be an Oscar contender? Do you think?
I think so. Yeah.
It's one of those. I think it could be a Tom Hanks Oscar. I think it's.
Even if he doesn't win one, I think he's going to get a nomination.
I think so, yeah.
And he hasn't had one in some time.
It's been
Apollo 13, the last nomination.
It's been a little while.
He had the incredible string of nominations and wins in the 90s. And he's sort of just kind of gone off and done his own thing for some time. But this first of all, it's a biopic, which is just, catnip for Oscar time. He has the chops. In the trailer, he's nailing Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
Now, I had heard criticisms that people can't just not see Tom Hanks in this role. He is clearly. I mean, he's not wearing a prosthetic or anything that I can tell. Maybe it wouldn't have been a bad idea. I don't know.
I like.
But he has all of those Mr. Rogers cadences down.
I like that he went. As far as to try and get some of the speech patterns down, but you can tell he's not doing a voice. I like that he's not, and they could have gone all in on this. They could have gone with something like we're gonna, even if they hadn't done Tom Hanks, not Tom Hanks, whoever.
Well, it's just a sweet draw, like a southern, like an old sweet old man draw. Like it's like elderly Forrest Gump almost.
Yeah, and it's. it's one of those like you got a guy that's regarded as being just the nicest guy in Hollywood.
He's America's grandpa.
And it's like, okay, he's the guy that you want playing Mr. Rogers. And I think it'll do well. I'm excited to see it. It'll be one I know I'll own.
Now, who's the writer? Is that who's the actor who's sort of writing or the article about
Let me see.
Mr. Rogers?
I do like I like that one line in the trailer where he says, I'm writing an article about Mr. Rogers and
don't ruin my
childhood.
I love that scene too, where his girlfriend, fiance, wife, I don't know. It's like she just sort of pretty much straight up says, like in a threatening manner, like, don't ruin my childhood. Don't dig up any shit on Mr. Rogers. Not that you ever could. One of the sweetest human beings to ever grace the earth.
There's
is this adapted from a novel? Do you know?
I think it's based. I want to say it's based on a true story. So
because there was a movie that recently came out, like a documentary that had limited, I think, theatrical release. I think that was adapted from a novel.
Yeah, I guess
It's a much more Hollywood version of this.
Matthew Rhys plays Lloyd Vogel, a journalist
For a second,
interviewer.
I thought, I was like, is that Ed Norton? He's a very Ed Norton-y type character.
He does have, he's got a little bit of that kind of note to him. Let's see. The director, it's Micah Fitzerman Blue and Noah Harpster, the writers, and Marielle Heller is the director.
It really doesn't even matter who's going to direct this thing, because Tom Hanks is going to. Yeah. He's directing himself. He's gonna nail this role.
Okay,
I have no doubt.
I do
It's
kind
gonna
of
be
like
a cliche. Like he's just gonna get a nod, and people are gonna oh, of course he's gonna get a nod for this.
I do like that. This is the Marielle Heller is the director, was Clocky in MacGruber, and documentary crew member in Popstar.
It doesn't even matter who.
It doesn't even matter.
It doesn't even matter who they get.
It doesn't even matter.
They're just gonna turn. They just turn the camera on, and then Tom Hanks.
I think it's just going to be a fantastic movie. It's probably that's why I ranked as my top, and I just fired right out of the gates. Like there's a number of good movies coming out in the next 3 months, but this is the one I think I would definitively say like, yep.
I'm gonna feel so good watching this movie. It's just gonna be like, going home again.
I went and saw the documentary they did on him. I think it was last year, and
awesome.
it was. There were times you're sitting in the theater, you just hear everybody in the theater is just tearing up. It's like everyone loves Mr. Rogers because he's just a lovable guy.
Yeah, and just stuff that like stories that people would share on social media about the things that he would do, like taking the puppets into the hospitals and putting on a private show of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood for these sick kids, and it's just something that he did. I absolutely love the story about going in front of was it not the FCC but the government?
Oh yeah,
just trying to keep funding alive.
Funding for
KET or not KET public
PBS
PBS, thank you. It's just the way that he charmed that senator into giving him them. He was convinced. He was gonna say no.
He was that
ready
compelling.
To shut it down.
He was so compelling, and it's just like I love from the documentary. And I think in the trailer they have the kid he bends down to hug the kid, and I can't remember if it's the one of the little boy that was in the wheelchair that came on his show.
Yeah,
but I remember when they had him.
See, that's the thing. I wonder which of these, because they've been guarded.
Yeah.
In the trailer, the first trailer, they're not showing a lot.
I remember I've watched the clip a number of times on YouTube of actual Fred Rogers. He was sitting in the front row of whatever award show it was, and the kid who had been on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood that was in the wheelchair comes out, and he just gets up, walks on stage, and hugs the kid. Yeah. And you're like, this guy is just the best.
Yeah.
He's
Mr. Rogers.
He's Mr. Rogers.
Nobody's going to do or say a thing.
Tell him to sit. He's like, that's Mr. Rogers. You watch yourself.
You watch yourself.
I will get LeVar Burton right now. Right now. He is here reading Rainbow.
He'll cap your ass.
He will. That's what LeVar will do. You don't have to take his word for it.
That's two times.
2 times.
It's like the Fugees, man. 2 times.
So yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. It wasn't on my list. I reserved it for you. Like I was just like, I know Adam's gonna say this movie, but I'm
why I
also
just- I
very
like
I can't wait to take my kids to see this because my kids they didn't get Mr. Rogers. Like I grew up on Mr. Rogers. You know, like my mom was like all Captain Kangaroo. Mr. Rogers was me.
Yep.
And you know, like yeah, my kids didn't get any of that. And he educated kids on manners and just being a good person.
Yeah, the reach of his impact is unbelievable. The people that he did things for and the lives that he touched. You're just like there's not many stories. There are good, you hear stories about good people. It's like it's doing good things.
Yeah.
But it's like this guy is it's like there's nothing about him. You could go through everything he had with the
And
fine
people
tooth comb.
try. Like
It's
there are those who would try to question his sexuality.
he's
his-
incorruptible.
Yeah. Oh, I hate
And
that.
that's the best part about it is like there's nothing that can taint the goodness of Mr. Rogers because he was just a good person all around. And you're like, that's
As an adult, you just can't, I guess, help but want to go, what's with this guy?
yeah,
He's not really this guy.
because we've been trained to doubt that level
Sure,
of goodness
Sure.
because it doesn't exist outside of Mr. Rogers.
Yeah. You gotta watch out for these
Yeah.
people. They're too good to be
Because
true.
people they'll
But he
hoodwink
was too good.
you. Yeah,
He was just
He
the
was
right
that
amount
guy.
of good that we all needed. So it's going to be a heartwarming story. There will not be a dry eye
No.
in theaters. And it's not because he dies or anything. It's just because you just can't believe that humanity can be so
overwhelmed
pure
with his
good.
goodness.
And with kids, with children, especially if you have kids too. I mean, it's just gets you even more. Like with the part we talked about where he gets up and hugs the kid
Yep.
in the wheelchair, you know. You don't get any of that as a kid. You get that. You appreciate that as an adult.
Yep.
But as a kid, he's just like, you know, he's like your grandpa, man.
He's the best.
He is the best. And that's a good movie to start with. When's that coming out again? November what?
November 22nd.
Just in time for Thanksgiving,
Yep.
baby. I'm thankful that we had Mr. Rogers.
Please don't ruin my childhood.
This piece will be for an issue about heroes. Do you consider yourself a hero?
We are trying to get the world.
Okay, my first movie is also very wholesome and sweet, and especially when it comes to children. And of course, we're talking about Pennywise the Clown in It Chapter 2 coming out September 5th.
I was kind of hoping that you would. go with
Yeah,
that
I
one.
had to. Like, it had to happen. We had to. That's not our bookend, but following up on this.
I reserved that one for you. I put it on my list because I know I'm looking for it as well. but
And
like,
it's
no,
there's no
that's-
movie I'm looking forward to more than
Yep.
It Chapter 2, and it looks so good. And the thing that's got me really excited is, have you noticed all of the attention that Bill Hader's getting?
He's getting a lot of attention.
I mean, Oscar nomination type
Yeah.
stuff, you know. Like, and I know it's like Warner Brothers are pushing it out, but I find it interesting because he is a comedian. But you know, and you haven't seen a lot. You can see a lot of quick cuts of what's going on. Jessica Chastain and who's the guy who plays Bill?
McAvoy.
Yeah, James McAvoy. Like I feel like getting the majority of the attention.
Yep.
As they should. They're kind of the two main characters as far as the children go. But it's Richie, man. It's Bill Hader's character. Like he's the guy, and I'm like
Yep.
I'm so excited. It's got me even more pumped. I saw that cast when they released it, and I was like, this is going to be amazing.
Yeah, and you still have, you know, because there's still gonna be parts with the kids.
Yeah,
They'll have
they're
flashbacks,
still in it.
and
yeah.
all of those kids that we loved in the first one who have only gotten better.
Yeah.
Um,
Then Wolfhard.
yeah, he's, you know, you get a real sense from him in the Stranger Things season 3
Mhm.
that there's been a big change in him from season 1 to season 3 in so much as like, okay, he's a bona fide actor at this point. I mean, he's a
the
kid.
River Phoenix of this
He is.
group.
He's got some real chops. He's got some big things under his belt, and
I think so, too.
he's got juice to go far.
He could be that Johnny Depp, that
Yeah.
generation, you know, of like a serious actor. He could be the next Edward Scissorhands.
He could
Just saying, he could be the
when
next
they
Kraven.
reboot it, because they'll
They
probably
will eventually
reboot it.
reboot all of the movies. Everyone that you love, they'll reboot. And you know, like I was at a store and I walked past the It book, which is so thick and huge, and I'm thinking, how is it possibly that they're going to be able to adapt this gigantic thick novel into these movies. Like the miniseries did a pretty decent job, but it was a miniseries. They had several hours. But I mean, the first movie was just so good, and it's going to be close to 3 hours.
Yep.
They're giving it like in game time.
Yep. And
So-
it's supposed to be, I think that's one of the bloodiest scenes in any. I've read that a couple places. Some of the scariest stuff you've ever, and I don't doubt it at this point.
Yeah, when there were rumblings and people who'd seen scenes like Comic-Con or what have you, so yeah, this is going to be scary. This is going to be freaky, and it needs to be freaky. Like at times, and you touched upon it when we, I think, maybe discussed it. Well, in our remix episode that we did, maybe in the last episode, that a lot of people go and they look back at Tim Curry's Pennywise as this really freaky, scary memory, but really you were just a kid, and like it's not hard to freak out a kid. But compared to Skarsgård's version of Pennywise, which is legitimately freaky, especially with his eyes and stuff. And there's that part in the trailer like where you see him and he's kind of got like it totally looks like the scene from like Batman with where Jack Nicholson's kind of like got the
the streaming,
the
on the
makeup's
face.
kind of streaming
Yep.
off his face, and he just looks insane. There's that little quick scene with Pennywise where he has that crazy look, but the eyes still cockeyed. What's going to happen, man? It looks like they're going to have the scene where the hate crime,
Yep.
where the homosexual guy, he gets like, tossed off a bridge or whatever.
Yeah.
Pennywise there.
You're
going to get that scene.
I think
the last movie didn't pull any punches, and I don't think.
And I think this one's going to push even harder. I think that's what they're like. All right, because there's, I mean, that was, I know one of the things in the first one, people were kind of concerned, like, okay, well, there's some odd stuff in the book. There's some real unsettling things in there, and thankfully they stayed away from the stuff that's really off-putting.
Yeah,
but I think in this they're still pushing the bounds of the stuff that's like, okay, that stuff's completely out of play. This stuff is like borderline, like we're going to push it as far as we can, and I appreciate that.
I
like
do
that.
too. Yeah, like the kids weren't safe by any means. But
No.
You're just not going to have to deal with the heaviest of themes.
Yeah.
Because it's not necessary. You still need to do it. I think it was necessary to show the violence towards Bill's little brother.
Yep.
To kind of let you know that things are going to be unsettling.
Yeah, they let you know right out the gates, like, okay, we're not pulling punches here.
But that's what's so crazy about this one here, because it's going to be the adults now. Like, how is this entity going to scare the adults? And I love what they chose to show you. They had like the extended scene with Jessica Chastain with the crazy, like the weird old lady.
The lady.
It's like, kind of like sulking around, scurrying around in the background. You got the scene with James McAvoy where there's like a kid in a funhouse.
In that glass maze.
Yeah. It's just some innocent kid, that he sees. Oh my God, that's going to be intense. Pennywise is like licking the glass.
Oh.
So odd.
The other night I was on Twitter, and I got to the point where things, is late enough at night that people weren't readily tweeting things, and so my Twitter feed was stalled a little bit, and I kept trying to refresh and see what was happening. But nothing was happening. But I was stuck with the 6-second clip of Pennywise just staring back at you.
Oh, and he like becomes the
and
monster
then, like,
thing.
the
I've
last
seen
second,
that
and
advertisement.
I'm sitting there, I was like, I need to close Twitter because it's just Pennywise staring at me.
I know exactly what he's going to do, and
It's
I
like
just keep watching.
I know what he's going to do, and I've watched it several times, but I'm going to stop now.
But
I'm going to stop.
I can't look away.
It's one, like, I know I'm thankful because you and I are big horror movie fans.
Yeah.
And there's so, like, it's always funny to me. It's like I talk to other adults, like, oh no, I can't do scary movies, and I want to be like, but it's not real. I mean, it's not real.
But there's a lot of people just don't want to deal with those emotions. They just want to they want their little bow and happy endings. I guess
we're
fine.
pioneers in emotional stuff
because we know life is messy.
Yeah,
not everything is happy and rainbows and like unicorns and like it's just not. It doesn't necessarily have to be this bleak.
No,
but it's kind of taking it the other direction.
But we're okay with that.
I'm totally okay with that, and and I don't know what October's going to look like. I always get excited around October to see what scary movies are going to step up and be. Like last year we had, Halloween.
Yep.
Which was excellent.
Did great.
It fit the bill, man. It came out right around Halloween. and it bugs me. Like, it chapter 1 came out in August, I think.
It was the beginning of September, same
It was
as
the
this
beginning-
one.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
beginning of
Yeah.
September, same as this one.
I would be like, I want to see it. I'm anxious to see it, but like, push it a few more weeks, man. They just know they're going to make more money, I guess, if they release in September. They're still kind of capitalizing on that end of the summer. Like,
It's funny because
mentality.
August used to be the end of summer
Yeah.
when people were still like, all right, we get your last hurrahs in.
Yes.
But I think because they pushed the summer movie season so far to where like the end of April,
Yeah.
beginning of May is now summer movie season.
Right.
You're like, by the time you get to August, like August is really tapered off and stuff doesn't do that well in August.
You had Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah.
I mean, other than that,
And even that opening weekend, I think only made 60 million.
I think it
domestically.
underperformed a little bit.
I
I
was
think
really
internationally
kinda
it did well. But
Yeah, I was really kind of surprised. It's like, wow, this is. I mean, it's The Rock.
it had all of the like the signs. All the signs were there that it was going to be like a major hit.
Yeah, and it's doing well.
Yeah.
But it was just like when it came out the first weekend, because I went and looked, and I think Furious 7, I want to say made like 150 million opening weekend domestically.
But again, that was like a May movie, you know.
It's just those ones hit earlier. This one,
I
fell
think
in
Hobbs and
August.
Shaw would have made that kind of money if it did come out in May.
I think you're right, but
it was odd that they put it in August.
August, and there's nothing else really that's come out this month that's just blowing people away. But once you hit that September, it's like August is kind of that transitional. Here's our summer, here's the transition. September, you're into that fall mode, and I was like, okay, even though Halloween is, you're talking, it drops the first Friday in September.
It's right around the corner.
I mean, we're just a couple weeks away.
We are.
And
by the time you're watching this, it'll probably be coming out.
yeah, it'll be you might be watching this in the theater, listening to us. Put the phone down.
I hope you are.
Stop listening to us
don't
and
do
pay
that.
attention to the movie. Don't be
It's
that
a
guy.
waste of money.
Yeah,
Bought
that's
the
stupid.
ticket.
Don't be stupid.
And if you're watching the YouTube channel, even worse. But thank you.
We appreciate it.
We do appreciate
Don't
it.
doubt us. We do
You should
appreciate
watch
it.
it chapter
But watch
2.
the movie and then watch us
Fucking
afterwards.
rad, dude. It's
Come
gonna
on,
be so
come on,
good.
come on. You're better than that.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I think of all the movies, probably this is the no-brainer hit.
Yeah.
It's tracking to be just as, if not more, successful than the first movie, which was a surprise hit. You're talking like 120, 130 million opening weekend, which is huge for a September.
For a September movie,
Yeah.
for a horror movie,
Yeah,
those.
especially for that horror movie.
Yeah.
That's not something those are like Conjuring movie numbers. I mean, not even Conjuring was that big.
yeah, and that's. Anytime like
It's
when
like the Lion King numbers.
this is going to be better than the Lion King.
Oh,
Better.
Yeah,
This is definitively better than the Lion King.
You know
and
what my
Aladdin.
favorite adjective for the Lion King? Someone said it was vapid.
Vapid.
You know, the last time I heard somebody describe something as vapid was like the Desperate Housewives.
That's
It's like, damn, for real?
this movie was very callow.
This and the Kardashians together. But no, chapter 2, I mean, I had to say it. I was tempted to say 10 movies we're looking forward to that's not chapter 2. Chapter 2,
But
no,
this-
I have to mention it.
Yeah, it is.
I can't saddle it with a caveat because I am so looking forward.
I'm eagerly anticipating it.
Yeah,
Eagerly.
I have no doubt it's going to be one of the best movies of the year for me, and it's easily, it's like end game level anticipation for me. I really think it's going to be amazing.
It's going to be a big deal. I'm excited about it.
For 27 years, I dreamt of you. I craved you. I missed you.
Okay, Adam, what's your second?
All right, let's see here. Let's keep this rocking and rolling here. What is my next one?
You got something wholesome so I can bring it back down again?
No, you know what? I'm going to double down.
Okay.
I'm going to double down because I'm going to go with the first DC movie that I've been this excited about. And I was excited about Shazam.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Shazam was going to be good, but this one I'm far more excited about because it's a much bigger and better character played by somebody that I think will be really good in it, and that's the Joker. It's
Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker was such on the nose casting.
he just I watched Her
I
the
love
other
that
day,
movie. Yeah.
and his personality is unsettling.
Yeah.
Like when you go through because he can play a lot of different stuff, but he plays crazy so well. I mean, he really does. Like You Were Never Really Here.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention that movie.
That, I mean,
Where he's the vigilante, more like like Charles Bronson on steroids type,
and
with a hammer, ball peen hammer.
in that
Weapon of choice.
What I liked about that movie was, I mean, like in the world where we have the John Wicks and we have the Takens and we have all these vigilante movies, the violence is one of those front and center things. And what I liked about You Were Never Really Here was a lot of the violence was kind of directed off camera. Like you would catch, like you would see on the security videos, you would see like the tail end of him hitting somebody.
Yeah.
It wasn't that in your face, like, oh, here's this big choreographed fight. It was the implication of violence. And I think because you believed it so much because of his character and because he was so unhinged, and you're just like, a guy that can be slightly terrifying because what I think he's doing, this guy's going to do great as the Joker.
Yeah, he's not like Eli Roth, where he gets to pornographically showing you the violence. And that's an interesting parallel when you bring up the you were never there. You were never there. Was that one?
You Were Never Really Here.
Yeah, You Were Never Really Here. That is almost like it's if there was a point, that movie is like if you tipped him towards good, the Joker is if he gets tipped towards evil. Like there's a level of breaking of a human being, and he just so happens to be choosing to harness his violence to save kids versus terrorizing a city.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's the perfect guy.
He is.
He's such an emotionally unhinged person.
And he gives you those kinds of performances where, like, even in the trailer, my two favorite things about the trailer, and I can't remember if we've talked about this or not, but when he puts on his clown makeup, one of the things, because I've in my travels and the things that I've researched, one of the things about clown makeup that I've found, that actual clowns, like professional clowns, typically tend to keep the makeup that they do with rounded edges, because it's more it makes them, the straight edges and the points are more jarring for children, just on a psychological level. And they go, I mean, like everything on his face, there's the points, the triangles over his eyes, everything
above
is
his eyebrow,
everything is very that way. And so it felt like an intentional choice right from the trailer. And then the other part in the trailer that they had was that comedy club that he's in a couple of times. If you're paying attention, I think one point somebody else is on stage, and I think at one point he's on stage, and you see behind him it says Pogo,
which was the name
of John Wayne Gacy's clown. And I just love it. It's like, okay, it feels like if that's the kind of attention you're gonna,
the nod they chose to give you,
so good.
That's your Easter egg, right?
Like you're like, I'm already like, I wanted to see this, and like I feel like you gave me something like, I think you're really gonna want to see this. I'm like, yes, I do. I really want to see it.
I'm excited because when you first heard the news that the guy who brought you the Hangover movies was writing this screenplay for a Joker movie, everybody I know was just like, well, I hope this does. It came. The announcement for this movie came at a time when Warner Brothers seemingly was just throwing any kind of announcement out there to see what stuck. There were all kinds of movies that were gonna happen. You're like, oh, this movie's gonna happen. There's gonna be, I assume there's still gonna be a Bird of Prey movie.
I think they're moving
I suppose, but I mean, just about every other week there was some like, hey, what do you guys think of this? And then the people would be like, oh, the internet would do its thing. Like, I hate it.
Yeah.
And when there was the news of a Joker movie, and this is like right around the time when the Batman was falling apart.
Yeah.
Like Ben Affleck.
This was months ago.
Yeah. And so we had no idea what was happening with Batman. It's like, who cares about what's going on with the Joker if you can't even have a Batman, like a sustainable Batman character? And now that we have Robert Pattinson, that his name?
Sparkly Vampire, yeah.
Sparkly Vampire. Like now I'm just curious. Like, are they gonna? Is this just a one-off? I hope it's not. I think that's what they're saying it is.
I think it's just going to be its own thing. I don't even think it follows any storylines from a comic book. I think it's just like, here's the character.
It's just a character study.
It's the Joker, and we made a movie about him.
Now, if this movie goes off to be a huge hit, which it's gonna be,
I feel like it really is.
It's gonna be a massive hit. Now, Joe, it comes out October 4th.
Yeah.
So this is a full month removed from It Chapter 2. And it's right in a perfect spot. There's nothing else huge coming out at this time.
No.
And it's gonna have a summer feel to it.
Yeah.
And maybe people, I have a feeling this movie might be whatnot. I think people are gonna expect Heath Ledger and this big action-packed kind of thing, but it's really gonna be just a character study, just the evolving of this person, this normal. Well, maybe not a normal person, because it is
seemingly normal
person, like finding out what's going on behind what's going on in his mind, and becoming the Joker character. We've seen Jack Nicholson become the Joker, who was just like a gangster with no conscience. Apparently, he was a little bit crazy and mad, but you don't really see what goes. Like you don't see why he becomes the Joker. He was just already kind of evil.
There was a meme, I've seen it a couple times now, and I enjoy it, about this movie. And it was I think the top half of it said 1989, to make the Joker, you push him in a vat of chemicals. In 2019, to make the Joker, you push him into society.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, I was like, that works so well.
But with Heath Ledger, he was the Joker already. He was full on the Joker. There wasn't even a transformation scene. And, to a much lesser extent, Jared Leto and the Suicide Squad, he was already the Joker. Like, you saw, the scenes with, Harley Quinn, but he was the Joker even then. So this is a true origin story, it feels like. And since it's not based off any comics that we know of, it's going to be really interesting to see how it's received.
Because I was never a bit, I'm not, it's no surprise, I'm not a big DC fan, but Batman does get a pass on that. So I love Batman and most of the storyline. But I think even from things that I'm aware of, I don't know in the comics, and there may be, I'm sure hardcore DC fans. I think they've
purposefully not given you the origin of the Joker.
They never really gave you, here's the origin of the Joker.
If you tell the story of the Joker, it takes away from his mystique, because he's such a wild card.
Yeah.
I
see what you did there.
So, and I kind of agree with that, but maybe that's why this is just a one-off. It's like, this isn't really the Joker's origin. This is just an interesting
it's an idea that we came up with.
Study. But I think for some people, they're going to demand that this Joker continue.
I think I could see that being the case, and I
think Joaquin Phoenix is already such a mind. It's not going to damage him to be this.
No, because I remember reading stuff that Jack Nicholson had talked to Heath Ledger about playing the Joker, and kind of gave him a warning. It's like, this is an interesting character to play. You got to kind of be careful with it. Like, the further you go into it, it can kind of take some.
Heath Ledger's famous. He's like a Christian Bale. He pours himself into a character. He's a character actor. I think Joaquin Phoenix is already just sort of weird.
Yeah.
So he's not pouring himself into a role and becoming this person. I'm not saying he's a sociopath or anything, but far from that, he's just a weird guy.
I think there's
a strange guy, and he's okay with that.
What I like about Joaquin Phoenix is I think there's a capacity in every person that if you nurtured that sociopathic part of you, any person is capable of becoming it. Most people just don't, because it's a horrible thing.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it's when I was like, in the case of Joaquin Phoenix, it's kind of like, he's not a sociopath, but he's watered that plant a little more than the rest of us. And so it's when I was like, okay, he's not as far from this as we might think.
And I like how he seemingly has physically transformed his body a little bit too for this one. Like, he's very disturbingly gaunt.
Yes.
And just sick looking.
Yeah.
He's so skinny in this.
That scene where he's just in his underwear, kind of
be a little
over.
bit chunky at times.
Yeah.
So, I'm just looking forward to it, man.
It's gonna be good. All right.
Another one that I'm looking forward to quite a bit.
You don't listen, do you? You just ask the same questions every week. How's your job? Are you having any negative thoughts? All I have are negative thoughts.
Hit me
All
with
right.
your best shot.
Fire away.
Fire away.
Okay, so I'm going to stray a little bit from the horror movie path, just a bit.
Okay.
And for my second movie, I'm going to go ahead and choose the latest entry into the famous 80s and 90s science fiction saga starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's the Terminator Dark Fate.
Yeah. It's
I'm looking forward to it. It's kind of those like fool me twice, though,
yeah.
Terminator, the original James Cameron, first two movies are so good.
Far and away.
Then he backed away from it, and then Terminator 3 I thought was fine, but I didn't necessarily care for how they did the John Connor story, and Sarah, whoever it is, it was what was the actress's name from My So-Called Life?
Claire Danes.
Claire Danes, yeah, and like she was like the mother of John Connor or whatever. Like, was he kind of this? No, he was John Connor.
Yeah. Who played him? Nicholas something or other, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't really know what else he's been in. He looks a little bit like the older brother from Malcolm in the Middle, but I know it's not him.
He was in Sin City. He was the yellow guy.
The little weird yellow guy
yeah.
with his balls ripped out.
So he was in
That's what you want to be known as.
He was in The Man Without a Face as well with Mel Gibson back in the 90s.
No, but this feels like a true follow-up to Terminator 2 because you got Linda Hamilton coming.
You got her back.
You got Sarah Connor, dude.
The original.
And you got the John Connor. Edward Furlong is back in this bitch. And he just seemingly recently was announced.
Has he lost a little bit of weight?
And he just looks like an older version of the kid.
Because he had. I mean, I'm not one to criticize, but he had pudged up a bit.
We like to eat ice cream too. Carbs.
I live off of pizza.
Yeah,
literally.
Well, his IMDb picture looks like he's a pretty slim guy.
Okay.
So I wonder if it's just going to be mostly not flashbacks because then he would be a kid, but I don't know if he's going to have a large role. Obviously, Linda Hamilton's got a huge role in this, and there's a new Terminator in this thing, and I really like her. There's Mackenzie Davis. She's really interesting. She has an interesting look, and I like some of the other movies. She's played small bit parts in other movies like The Martian she was in. She played kind of...
The Martian?
The Martian. She played the kind of girl, the techie girl. She's like a real... You know what I'm talking about, right?
I watched that movie, and I mostly remember Matt Damon growing poop potatoes, and that's... I was like, he's eating poop potatoes.
No,
That's amazing.
she was like the girl who was sort of in the background, the young girl who I think who brought some data. I don't. She's not in a lot, but when I see her, I'm always drawn to her. I think she's a really interesting look. She's got a major role in this new Terminator movie. But James Cameron is sort of showing this movie as a movie that's worthy of a follow-up of his classic first two movies.
He did those Avatar movies, People.
I feel like he was also somewhat endorsing Genesis, though, so I'm taking that with a big fat pinch of salt. I don't necessarily, but it's nice to know that he's behind it. But again, Genesis.
I saw, I think, up through 4. I don't know that I saw the 5th one.
It's disappointing.
I know that I've seen 3 and 4.
It had Jason Clarke in it. He played John Connor.
Yeah, I didn't see that. Okay. I can tell you that I didn't.
And it's Emily,
Amelia Clarke.
Amelia Clarke, yeah. She and then she played the John Connor character. He's in a lot of stuff we've talked about. He played Captain Boomerang, I think. Jai Courtney.
Yeah,
Jai Courtney was in it. So
John McClane's son.
Anytime you put Jai Courtney in a movie that's of popular, has like some sort of following, it's usually turns out to be disastrous. Not his fault. He's fine, but Amelia Clarke wasn't great, I don't think. And it all. Whatever role that Arnold Schwarzenegger, if he's not the main focus of the movie, I feel like you're just sort of disinterested. They just keep having to bring him back. They pull his old ass out for these
just when I thought he was movies. Out, they pull him back.
I think Salvation was the only one that he had no role in. I think they just used his CG likeness for the end of that movie. That was the first major disappointment with the one with Christian Bale.
Yeah.
I just, didn't love it. I was disappointed by it. It wasn't terrible, but it felt like a step in the wrong direction. Genesis, they kind of fooled me. It had a really cool opening segment of the war, because the war against the machines. Like you'd seen that in little bits and pieces here in the first couple of movies. They showed you like a pretty cool scene of that, and then sending Kyle back in time or whatever, like that whole scene. You see like a modern version of what that would look like with modern day CGI and all that and budgets. I really don't know what to expect from this movie. You just have it honestly has a terrible trailer.
Yeah, it feels like they're just like, we're making a Terminator movie,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, okay, but it's got Linda Hamilton and Schwarzenegger. He's going to be in it.
Yeah,
too.
he's
like,
in
oh,
it.
Okay,
And they're trying to pull this kind of emotional thing they did with Logan with Hurt.
yeah,
It's a slow pace kind of. Now, admittedly, I love the scene where like Linda Hamilton comes out with the rocket launcher and shoots the RPG like just a few feet away, seemingly from the Terminator, blows his ass up. I mean, I feel like Linda Hamilton would blow back from that. She's so close. Watch the trailer, like she's really close to the damn thing.
like no,
she
I'm
stands there
fine.
like a badass.
I'm so tough.
Yeah, I'm so tough. I'm Sarah Connor, but I'm so excited to see her because she is a badass.
Well, it's what I feel like when you have, because this to me feels like they're doing a very similar, if not the exact same thing as Halloween did from last year.
Uh-huh.
You're like, all right, let's
get our heroine back.
Let's cut out the stuff that people were kind of about.
Shit we tried that didn't work.
Let's
get
go
back to the
roots. Let's cut that out. Let's go back to the original story.
Yeah.
Bring in the people that we know they like, and let's see if we can't recreate that magic.
Point.
And it's one like it worked really well for Halloween,
It did.
and so I hope that it works for Terminator.
And I like Tim Miller too.
Yes, Tim Miller, director of Deadpool.
Yes, I think he's a really capable director.
He is.
I've watched a few featurettes behind the scenes of him directing Terminator. He really seems like a guy who wants this movie to succeed. Like he is a fan of Terminator, I feel like. And he's having a good time directing the movie. I don't think he feels the pressures of directing a Terminator movie, which is cool. And I can understand why he doesn't feel the pressures, because I think they're just one more bad movie away from obscurity and never coming back.
Yeah,
again.
it's like if this one
is
does,
Schwarzenegger's
if
last
this
Terminator
doesn't
movie.
do well, we're done with Terminator.
I think so too.
Yeah,
and it's current in cinema, like any kind of cinema, like they may reboot it and go all the way back.
Yeah,
but as far as the storyline with Arnold Schwarzenegger is concerned, this
that'll
is
be done.
it. Even if this movie is like a huge success, I don't see them making this movie anymore. Like I think there have to be something.
Well, he's in his 70s at this point. I mean, it's when I was like,
sakes.
he's still compelling, but it's when I was like, he's in his 70s.
He's so freaking old. They have to come up with ways in the story to make it make sense that he looks old as a Terminator.
They're like, well, it's because of the oxidation. That's why. It's a very scientific process. There's hemophilia and it's a lot of science stuff.
You wouldn't understand. Just trust us. Just trust us.
We know science.
It makes sense that he looks old. But it's coming out November 1st. I think I think the movie could have some mild success. I don't think it's going to be a huge hit because I don't think what movie in the 1st of November is a humongous success. It usually like Thanksgiving, Christmas, or the 1st of September where it Chapter 2 is laying and sitting. Those all make sense to be a huge hit. So I feel like expectations are low.
Yeah.
I feel like this movie probably didn't cost a great amount of money. Like even Tim Miller directed it. Like he made Deadpool, I feel like on a shoestring budget.
Yeah, they had some huge constraints on the budget.
I'm sure they're hoping that they can have some. He doesn't have Ryan Reynolds though. It's the big problem.
Yeah,
Ryan Reynolds, if he were the Terminator,
I'd watch the crap out of that.
Oh, every day. So yeah, that's my number 2.
My name is Sarah Connor. August 29, 1997. It was supposed to be Judgment Day. But I changed the future.
What's your number 3?
I'm gonna go out of convention here of my numbering schema.
Okay.
And because I'm going to piggyback off of what you're doing there, because I'm going to go with another similar property from a similar time frame with a competing actor, because he's coming out with another one. We got Rambo: Last Blood coming out September 20th.
Yep. Sylvester Stallone, one last hurrah, seemingly.
He's got Expendables 4 that I think is was off the table for a long time. I think it's back in the
How
works.
many comebacks does Sylvester Stallone have in him?
He to me is one of those guys. I mean, like the guy was doing stuff back in the 70s.
In the 70s, yeah.
I mean, he's been doing stuff for almost 50 years
He's
now.
one of only a handful of people in their debut movie, like won an Oscar for directing and screenplay or something like that.
I think, yeah, because he wrote all the Rocky movies. I mean,
he's a talented writer.
He's a very talented guy. He knows the industry. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And because the first two, you got Rambo, First Blood, which I love the titling. We got Last Blood. You got your first two Rambo movies, back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And then we had the update to Rambo, I think in 2006.
Yeah, just Rambo. I guess.
Just Rambo, yeah.
And I liked it a lot.
It was
really
when I was
good.
like, when I went and watched it was like, this is phenomenal. I mean, it's when I was like, you took the character that we already knew, we already loved, and you dropped him into a whole new story, and you elevated him to the expectation of action movies in 2006, and you adapted it well. I mean, when he comes in the final sequence,
the action
with that 50
sequences
cal,
were very smart. He wasn't a Superman in those movies. He was just really good with this crossbow, and he was excellent at he's just Rambo. Like he
was John
trapping,
Rambo.
like coming up with these booby traps and stuff.
And it was just, you're like, oh, you're just sitting there like, you felt like you were a kid again watching him. He's like, yes, Rambo, get him.
So when he kind of like raised up slowly in the background. He's like, I was a kid from the 80s.
Like, yes.
Yeah.
So it's,
and he's got that damn crossbow once again in Last Blood.
And that he's got the knife. He's got the giant knife.
Yep.
And you're just like,
and I like how in the trailer they're he's morphing from the early Rambo movies into the most current Rambo.
And
he's an old man also, once again, in his 70s, I think.
I think that's the thing that, because it's not like Schwarzenegger has let himself go by any means, but I think it's when I was like, I don't know if it's because Stallone kept acting and kept in the industry and Schwarzenegger did his whole political thing.
Right.
I don't know if that's where like they kind of diverged.
Yeah.
Because like Schwarzenegger came back to the movies after he had his stint as the governor.
Well, I think steroids is a large part of it. At one point, maybe he was on steroids. I don't think he's been doing it because he still works out. He's a fit man.
Yeah, he's
for
fit.
His age, but like Stallone is unnaturally fit for it. Like his muscles look strange.
And it's like the thing is, you're like, oh wow, he's like 70 something years old, but it's when I was like, but he's a badass.
Yeah.
You're like, I want to go see him as John Rambo because he's going to kill.
His presence is still there. Like he's got all the presence of a man.
Oh my gosh! Like,
but with that wisdom and that the eyes, like his eyes are the same, and that's why I like when they would go from young Rambo, like the eyes are like same, but he's just older now. He just have an old body, but his eyes are still.
And he's found a meaningful way to. It's because it's when I was like like when he did Rocky Balboa, and then which really coming off of Rocky V. The weakest of the Rocky movies up to that point.
Only in America.
You got Rocky Balboa. It's like, oh wow, there's juice left in this franchise. Absolutely, and then you have Creed and Creed 2.
And then with Creed was genius. I love how they back-ended like a Rocky sequel.
Yeah.
That was a backdoor Rocky sequel. They did not, for the first half of that trailer, it was not a Rocky movie.
But he keeps, and what I appreciate is he takes these franchises, and it doesn't feel like a gratuitous cash grab. Like, oh, can we make another?
He still has something else to say,
and it's like, and he keeps doing it. It's like, okay, I got to give the guy props because like he's directing, he's writing, he's doing all these things, and it's like, and the movies he's putting out in his 70s that are incredibly physically demanding. Yeah, he's still right there, and it's like, hey, more power to you, man.
I root for Sylvester Stallone. I root for Rocky, and I root for Rambo. So
he's always been that guy. You're like, no matter what he's doing. With my kids, we went through the first 6 Rocky movies. We didn't watch Creed or Creed 2. But the first 6 Rocky movies, I think 5 of the 6 are PG. So I was like, well, I could show these to the kids.
At 5, I shit on it, but it's still entertaining.
It's still, it's the weakest of them.
Yeah.
But the weakest Rocky movie is still better than a lot of other movies.
Right.
So it's when I was like, he's a guy that you're like, his tale is just inspiring every time. You're like, even when you're watching the Rocky movies, when you watch them all back to back, it's like they're formulaic and a lot of the same things happen, but you don't care because Rocky's just such an inspirational character. Like, we just love Rocky. It's like, okay, yeah. Same thing with Rambo. It's like, this is the fourth installment in the Rambo. There's just, it feels like there's more Rambo movies, but I think
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, 3 was the end of the '80s movies,
Yeah.
and then like the last one, like the one that was just called Rambo.
Yep.
So and this one's called Last Blood, and,
Last
and I read an article that said he would be open to another Rambo movie. So he has ideas for more Rambo.
It's like, okay, keep giving us Rambo movies.
That's fine.
I'll
And
keep watching
this
them.
definitely feels more like it's going back to the roots. He's home again.
Yep.
And he's getting hassled not by law enforcement, by what the hell is it? Drug
Like a cartel, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's
I'm iffy on that. I'm not sure.
it's a good safe one that doesn't get you in trouble with this ethnic group or this. It's like everyone
can agree drugs
everyone
are bad,
hates
yeah.
the drug cartels.
Cartels are no good.
But it's like, we're not, it's like, oh, it's the Germans. Oh, we can't hate the Germans.
No,
that's
we've hated them enough.
Inappropriate. Well, that's not very woke.
Yeah.
But drug cartels, oh yeah, drugs are bad. Okay.
Drugs are bad. Everybody agrees drugs are bad.
So yeah, so
I had that one right here too. So yeah, September 20th.
When you busted out our names, like, all right, I'm going to Sly. We got to get.
Oh, did you just like in that moment decide?
I had it on my list, but it was not my next one in progression.
All right.
I was like, all right,
I like that.
Let's match
how
the
you
continuity.
You're thinking on your feet like a cat.
I finally came home
Uncle John!
to defend the only family I've ever known.
You must really want this girl.
Okay, so
they
yeah,
call
we've
me
had
Whiskers.
some overlap, as I knew we would. So for my next movie, and this was a tricky one because I don't even really know necessarily if it's going to even get much of a theatrical release. For October 15th is the day, and I've already got my tickets. I pre-ordered. I do have a ticket. I can't believe I actually bought a ticket this far in advance. Didn't do that for Endgame, but I was positive that was going to be in theaters for a while. And that's the much anticipated return of Jay and Silent Bob and Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. And from what I understand, it's a very grassroots kind of deal.
Yep.
Like they're promising at least one weekend in theaters. Probably not going to go beyond that. It's a Fathom Events kind of thing. So you'll get a couple of shows and they're sold out. I mean, in our area, like you're not going to be able to go see the Jay and Silent Bob Reboot at least during that week.
Yeah.
If there's a miracle happens, and it won't, because Kevin Smith movies just do not do well in theaters. And he knows this, which is why he's not even going to spend the money. He had a long Facebook Live post where he was going through the numbers and he said, hey, we make a movie that costs $20 million. If I want to put any sort of meaningful advertising campaign for just that opening weekend, it's another $20 million, the same exact amount,
which is ridiculous.
The movie costs, and it ain't going to make a damn bit of difference because Kevin Smith fans are going to see the movie sometime. They're not going to flock to theaters.
In October, you're not going to get people like, oh, what is this Jay and Silent Bob business?
Yeah,
and just your casual.
And Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back was a moderate hit.
Yeah.
I remember doing okay. Unfortunately, had the bad timing of coming out the week of 9/11, but at least it came out before that happened.
Yes.
I went to see it in theaters, loved it. I watch it all the time. It's really fun. And everybody's coming back for this one. And it looks like they're having fun. They got a bunch of really impressive cameos slated for this new movie.
I think because in watching the trailer, I remember being really excited. And because it was just like, and even he joked about it as like, we're essentially remaking Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Mm-hmm. And I like his meta perspective on everything. And it's just, I love his perspective on just about everything anyways. But it's when I was thinking about it, it's like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back did so well because all of the people that were in it at the time were big names and it had a lot of studio money behind it and it was getting a big push. And what I loved about the reboot trailer is a lot of the same people are coming back.
Yeah.
But as a Jay and Silent Bob fan, Jay and Silent Bob fan.
You're a super fan came out there.
I'm a super fan of Jay and Silent Bob. Been that way for a lot of years. So Jay and Silent Bob reboot. I'm really excited. So I'm watching the trailer, and in the trailer, there's all these people that were in the Fast movie. Strike Back. And so you're like, oh, I friggin' know that guy. I love that guy from the Fast movie. It was great. And so you're watching it. But the thing is now, none of these people, nobody cares about these people now. You know, Jay and Silent Bob fans, you know, they love them because they were in the movies. But
You got Shannon Elizabeth is going to be back in this bad boy.
So
had a love child with Jay.
Yes, and it like all that's
It's Harley Quinn,
and it's
Harley Quinn
it's
Smith.
fantastic. You're like all of those things for the USQ people, for people that have followed Kevin Smith's career. It's just candy for us.
It's like a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
You just want to see the cameos. I'm only sad. Like, well, didn't Stan Lee doesn't he have a cameo of some kind?
He might.
I think like he did film something, so he might be his very last cameo.
Which would just be hysterical.
It would be
that
he got his cameo like
he wasn't
rolling with Mallrats basically.
Yeah.
Love that little shout out from Captain Marvel, by the way.
But
fantastic.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's like it's gold for.
But you got Matt Damon's coming back. It's not just
Affleck and Damon.
You got Affleck and Damon, right? You got, which I love that Affleck and Kevin Smith have seemingly buried the hatchet.
Yes,
they're buddies again. It's great.
Now that Jennifer Garner's out of the picture.
She's not. You know, I don't want to blame her, but I blame Kevin Smith's big mouth more than anything. And then like Ben Affleck kind of probably let it happen. You know, I think he was always sort of. I think there was this sort of competition, like a father and son. You know, he's like, I'm better than you in every way. Like, it's time to step out of the shadow of Kevin Smith.
Affleck, for whatever reason, had so much more commercial appeal. And I mean, I like a number of the things that Affleck's done.
Yeah, me too.
But as an actor, I mean, he's should not have been in anywhere near as many movies as he was because he's not that good of an actor.
He's okay.
But he got, when you go back and you watch Good Will Hunting.
He's a legit good director.
He's a fantastic director.
Yeah.
Behind the camera, unbelievable. He's great. I wish he would have been doing that a lot sooner.
Yeah.
But in front of the camera, I mean, I loved him in The Town. I loved him in The Accountant. I mean, he has things now where he's grown up some, but it's like knowing that he's
pretty good in Argo too.
He and Damon got Academy Awards for Good Will Hunting. When you watch that, Matt Damon deserves an Academy Award. Ben Affleck deserves,
I think they got awards for screenplay.
Wendy's.
Like, I don't think it was for their acting.
No,
necessarily. It was for their writing of the script.
But I still feel like Damon probably did a lot more of the writing of that than Affleck.
Did you ever see the Family Guy bit where it's Matt Damon and Ben Affleck and they're like in their studio apartment writing the screenplay?
Yes.
And Matt Damon's like slaving away at the typewriter, and then Ben Affleck farts or something.
Come on, I helped. Oh yeah? Okay. Write a line. Just right now. Just pitch me a line right now. Okay.
Yeah, that seems pretty accurate. I could see maybe that possibly happening.
But it's like,
he's the original dude, bro.
He was a pretty guy that you could put in, like you drop him in with Sandy Bullock, forces of nature. But because Sandy. Boom, pow, sandwiches.
Boom, pow, Sandy.
Sandy witches.
How could we have not made that the catchphrase?
Boom, pow, sandy witches.
Perfect. T-shirt. We really got to get a t-shirt going. We would buy all the t-shirts.
Yeah, we'd wear them all the time.
Our only customers.
They're like, where do you get those t-shirts? Like, you can't get them. They're that exclusive.
I made them and bought them.
I made them myself.
But with Jay and Silent Bob reboot, the gang's all back. Everybody's back except for George Carlin or something like that. Everybody's very happy to be in a Kevin Smith movie. And he's taking the movie on tour. That's how he's going to make money off of it.
I dig that.
Kevin Smith's going to make his money on video and streaming and all that stuff, just like he does with every movie. But as he discovered, Kevin Smith makes his money doing Q&As and shit. He made a good living for a many number of years. Stayed relevant for a long time with his Q&As and his podcasts. And now he's back to directing. He's kind of back after many years. He's making his little weird movies, but he's also directing popular television shows. They're trusting him again to make things.
What I like,
and now he's producing a He-Man show.
Yes, on Netflix. Wonderful.
I can't wait.
But what I like about Kevin Smith is it's one of those where he wanted to go do Clerks 3, and not everyone wanted to come back. So okay, Clerks 3 is off the books.
Did you hear the news that he's rewriting? He's redoing the script in hopes to get
Jake Anderson.
A
Sorry,
character who will not be named.
Had a little something in my throat there.
Yeah, whom held up basically all of Clerks 3. I would love to be a part of that little script reading that they had for the script that was going to be made. But anyway, off topic. You were saying?
But he wanted to do Clerks 3, and that didn't happen. Right. And then he wanted to do Mallrats 2, and he couldn't get the rights to it.
Couldn't make the show either.
Couldn't do the show. So it was when I was like, okay, well, I tried doing these other movies, and some people came and saw them, but not a lot. And so let me go back.
I saw them, Kevin. I went to see all of them.
Let me make a Jay and Silent Bob movie, and everybody's like, hell yeah, let's do it. And so it's when I was like, yeah. It's when I like the idea that he's like, I'm going to take a movie I already made and do that exact same movie over again.
Yeah.
And just here's another movie.
Are all the shit right now.
And it's like that. It's funny because it's like he's capitalizing on what everyone's doing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of poking fun at that idea in general,
for sure,
while capitalizing on it at the same time. And I love that. I love his business sense in that because it's like, all right, that's where I'll make some money. I'll go make it. Because people would always give him crap. Because when he burst on the scene as this indie director for Clerks, it's like, oh, he's this indie director. Like, no, he's a guy that had a funny story about here's what me and my friends do. I was like, and they're like, oh,
same thing that we're doing right now. Like,
he's sold out.
We wanted to listen to a podcast that we would like to do, so we make it. I'm sure his only regret is not being able to cast Carrie Fisher as a Harry Bush nun.
Yes. The book. You live by the book.
Yeah, we live by the book. The unwritten rules of the road.
LaForza's? You guys don't know who LaForza's is?
So yeah, Jay and Silent Bob reboot. Obviously, it's not going to be much of a presence in theaters, but that doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Because if I'm going to go to bat for Lifetime movies, then of course I'm going to go to bat for Jay and Silent Bob reboot. And if he comes to my town, if he brings the movie there, I'll go see it. And I think eventually he probably will.
Yeah.
Like you can't go to every town on the initial run, but from what I understand, a lot of the shows are selling out, so he's just going to add more dates.
Yeah.
So,
more dates
I
mean more
already
money.
have my ticket. I went to Fandango, bought my ticket. I'm going to see it here in theaters. I'm going to continue my Kevin Smith streak, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be really funny.
I dig it.
I think a lot of people are going to go look at this thing and go, okay, Kevin Smith. He never was or never is going to be the mainstream director
that,
he himself hoped he would be, but he is the best Kevin Smith there ever will be.
And he has a substantial enough following. People that, we're two guys. I'd watch the guy make anything.
This very well may be the most profitable movie he makes.
Yeah.
Because he's ahead of he's finally ahead of the old school thinking. He learned his lesson and just keep doing it, man.
Yeah.
Take that movie all over the country.
Hells yeah.
Sell out an arena. Everybody will watch the movie. It doesn't even matter if they've seen it a million times. Like I did a Q&A with him where he showed Mallrats in the beginning. Yep. People came early. They watched Mallrats. It didn't matter. We were just all, as a collective group of Kevin Smith fans, we were just all happy to watch Mallrats together. Yeah. I love that he comes out and he's like, by a show of hands, which one of you guys saw Mallrats when the original run? And then I think a few people raised their hand. Like, I couldn't even raise my hand to that. It's like, I wanted to go see it, but I couldn't.
Well, he got critical acclaim from film festivals for Clerks.
Yeah.
And so the studios gave him some money to make Mallrats. Yeah. But really, by the time Mallrats came
they
around,
hoped he'd be the new, Miramax Golden Boy.
He wanted to be the next Richard Linklater, and they wanted him to be the next Richard Linklater.
Yeah.
And he connected with a fan base in the same way that Richard Linklater does, but not in the same commercial way. I
would argue that he connected more so with.
He connects more so with his fan base than Richard Linklater did, but I think Richard Linklater had more commercial success with his films, and that's studio wise. That's what they were hoping for. I think Kevin Smith was far more successful in his venture than he anticipated. Probably would have liked to make more money, but I think he feels more success because of the fan base he has is so loyal.
And I think he would be the first to admit, he never was technically a great director.
Yeah,
he was just really talented writer. He had a way with people.
Yes.
He and
he wasn't even supposed to be here today.
One thing they have in common is they really have interesting dialogues.
Yeah.
But he really wasn't. I think he's gotten a lot better. I think Red State's a really beautifully done movie. I think that's possibly his best movie. movie film.
outside of Tusk.
Tusk was weird.
Tusk was weird.
Tusk was very weird.
But Tusk was one of the movies that they pushed it. People was like, stop making Jane Silent. We want to see you do other stuff. And he did it. It's like he went out there and he's like, I'll do some different stuff. I'll do some stuff that you guys,
Yoga Hosers is a little more fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember seeing Tusk and just being mostly disturbed by it. But that was a very punk rock attitude towards Tusk. Like he's like, I'm just gonna make Tusk.
Yeah.
I don't even really care if anyone else to see this. I want to see Tusk. I will make Tusk.
I want to see Justin Long turn into a werewolf.
Yes, and he made it happen.
Via some crazy psychopath.
Yay! It's Jay and Silent Bob.
I just found out I have a kid, but I don't know how to be a father.
Anybody with cum can be a father.
Nothing wrong
You're
with
welcome. I'm sorry. I don't even know what to say. Anyway, that's my number 3. What's your number 4?
Number 4, I'm going to go with, let's see, I'm going to go with Knives Out. I'm just
okay.
I'm excited about it's the first because I know Chris Evans did something recently on Netflix. I haven't watched it yet. Just came out, but it's kind of his first big thing after Post Captain America.
Yeah, and I've always been a huge Chris Evans fan.
He's made a lot of good. I mean, I own a good number of his movies, and he's always been a compelling actor.
He has.
Even in he directed Away We Go. I forget the name of it. He even his directorial debut, I really enjoyed.
Can't think of that movie either, but where he's like a dad and he's like the young girl.
Well, that was Gifted. This is one
Did
he plays.
Gifted?
He did. And I'll keep talking while I'm looking it up.
Okay.
He did. He plays a guy. He's a guitar player in. Just making money off tips in Grand Central Station, meets Alice Eve, I believe. And they kind of, yes, and they have this, it just kind of like the romantic comedy that kind of just jumps off from there. And it's the only thing. Before we go.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which I highly recommend. Two strangers stuck in Manhattan for the night grow into each other's most trusted confidants when an evening of unexpected adventure forces them to confront their fears and take control of their lives. It's a great film. I really enjoy it. There's a lot of stuff Chris Evans has done that's off the beaten path. This one is directed by Ryan Johnson. Which I love Ryan Johnson.
I do too.
People give him all kinds of shit for The Last Jedi.
Unfairly.
Which is really unfairly.
You can't make Star Wars fans happy as a collective. You can't. No. They're still, everybody wants Empire.
That's the thing. There are 3, maybe 4. I might add a level of Star Wars fandom. The first level of Star Wars fandom is people who have never seen Star Wars. Because there's just some people who are like, you call me crazy. I've never seen a Star Wars movie. It's like, okay.
Been living under this rock for the last 40 years.
Congratulations. It's when I was like, the next level is people who have casually watched them. Like people's like, oh yeah, I saw that on TV. That was good. But it's a pretty good movie. Then there are people who claim to love Star Wars, but really only love Empire and just shit on everything else.
Yeah.
And then the last level is people that own cloaks.
Who still own, the people who still sleep on bed sheets of Star Wars.
I was like,
can do no wrong, carry the mantle of Star Wars.
Like I enjoy the Star Wars movies. I own all of them. I watch them.
They're all entertaining. Even the shittiest ones have a handful of enjoyable moments.
Attack of the Clones at least has that scene with Yoda and Count Dooku. You're like, I can watch
it
that.
Has that scene.
I can watch that at least. But
still enjoy that, even though that's a major point of contention for a lot of the diehards, the Empire lovers.
It's there's a lot. There's a lot of the franchise that people crap on, but it's Ryan Johnson's entry. Because I think. I know a buddy of mine hates Ryan Johnson because he took Luke and turned him in as like.
Go watch Looper, man.
Brick. If you watch Brick, Brick is, I think, the best movie he's done. Looper is fantastic. The Brothers Bloom,
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
they're great. I mean, they're genuinely great movies.
Yeah.
And
Looper's one of the coolest sci-fi movies.
Because Ryan Johnson he's a small movie kind of guy.
Yeah.
Brick is a noir detective story set in a high school, a California high school.
Right.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt as kind of the title detective, and it's great. I mean, I don't know how many times I've watched it, but Ryan Johnson is a capable writer and a capable director. Yes. And when I saw this trailer coming out, and it's Ryan Johnson.
He can direct a movie, man.
Oh, absolutely.
He's got a unique style too, and this trailer from this movie's got a very unique style.
It's got a fantastic cast. You got Daniel Craig,
Tony Collette,
Michael
Shannon, one of my favorite character actors. Jamie Lee.
Yep, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, Christopher Plummer.
There's a ton of names in it.
Don Johnson, for God's sakes.
I mean, it's one of those, and it looks.
Frank Oz.
Yeah. It's a compelling murder mystery, and he's done that a number of times.
Yoda thinks he's okay.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, but when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
This is going to be good. I'm excited about it. And Chris Evans, in the trailer,
he's being like Chris Evans of old, man.
Yeah, he's so douchey.
There's a snarkiness
and
to him.
Snarky, that's the perfect word for it, because it's just like he's just so antagonistic in a really fun, sarcastic way.
He can now shed that Captain America image.
And it's nice because you got Ryan Johnson doing something. This is his first project after Last Jedi. You got Chris Evans is kind of front and center, in this ensemble cast.
Yeah.
I hope big things for it. This will be.
I mean, Daniel Craig, Tony Collette, and Michael Shannon. I mean, those are three actors.
These are. I mean, you got some big, solid names in it. So to me, and it comes out November 29th.
Mm-hmm.
So you got the week after.
You've just eaten your turkey.
Yeah.
You've had your nap.
It'll be one of those. What I'm hoping is the people that don't want to go see. It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. The people that are looking for something a little edgier.
It's going to be for an older crowd.
Yeah, this is an older crowd.
It's not for the younger crowd.
This is not going to be one that breaks the box office.
No.
But this is one I think that we'll find. It'll definitely have a niche crowd, and I hope that it finds a larger audience, that people go see it, and the word of mouth that starts to trickle out after the first week or two gives it some longevity through the holiday season.
I have no doubt it's going to be very watchable.
I think it's like, you have that Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood is the one that's going to it gives you that happy family feel. And this one is my family's not happy. My family's dysfunctional. Okay, go see Knives Out.
I really do. I think Frozen 2 is going to be the one that makes $200 million the first couple weeks. A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, that's going to be the movie that just plays all throughout Christmas.
Yep.
People are going to be going to see that with their kids.
Yep.
Grown men are going to go take their mom or dad to go see this movie. There's going to be waves of this, people going to see this movie for a long time. It may end up making just like $125, $130 million, but it's going to be in the top 10 for like 2 months.
Yep.
This movie here, as in other words, I think it's going to make good money for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And people will forget about it.
It's not going to have a lot of legs, but I think if it makes it through the holiday season, maybe part of the way trickles out in January, it'll compete decently with some of the stuff coming out in January, because nothing good comes out in January.
Yeah.
But yeah, it won't be around long, but I have high hopes for it, and I think it'll be.
I think it's a great
post
Thanksgiving Day movie.
I'm excited about it.
All right, fair enough.
So that's.
Up your ass.
Oh, very nice.
Matter of fact, eat shit. How's that? Eat shit. Eat shit. Eat shit.
Smug smile.
Definitely eat shit.
Man, I got some tough decisions to make here now. I only got 2 left I can pick.
I don't think you'll pick my number 5, so you can go either one.
So for me, my next movie that I'm really looking forward to seeing is the sequel to Zombieland. Zombieland 2, Double Tap. I loved the first one a lot. I think it was one of the first successful ventures into a parody of zombie movies.
Yeah.
So, and in this one here, I think it's just going to be more. I have some concerns it may not be as fresh and good as the first movie because of that. I think a lot of people are just jumping on board. You got like there's a lot of pretty well-known actors who are jumping on board.
A lot of cameo kind of stuff.
Dan Aykroyd's going to be
Aykroyd and what's his face? Bill Murray. He's coming back.
Bill Murray, yeah, I saw that as a zombie.
Both be in it.
Hang on, let me pull this up here.
And you got your whole cast returning. Yeah, and
yeah, I like how they're selling it too. Like they put up all the Oscar nominations for like the actors.
And that's what's pretty great about it is like when Zombieland first came out, Abigail Breslin was still, she was a teenager.
She was from True Grit. That was kind of her thing. No, she was in Little Miss Sunshine.
Little Miss Sunshine.
Yeah.
But she was still a teenager. Emma Stone was kind of coming into her own. She wasn't as
Rosario
huge.
Dawson is going to be in this one. There's the really funny scene towards the end of the trailer where they have Luke Wilson and Tom Middleditch as sort of their doppelgangers.
I love Tom Middleditch.
Yes. I think that scene you see them in is all we're going to get, but it gets me excited.
That's fine.
Lots and lots and lots of cameos for this movie. But it looks like it's going to be good. I think the plot is just this guy who, what's her name? Not Madison. She's like the new character that I think Tallahassee's Woody Harrelson. Who am I thinking of? Jesse Eisenberg, Columbus. I think she's sort of there to be put in the middle between he and Emma Stone and those two characters. And I think she looks like she's going to be a good addition to that. But it's all about Little Rock, the girl who pretends to be the sister of Emma Stone. She runs off with this new character who his name's Berkeley. And that's just the plot, like they're going to get her. Like
they gotta go
the first couple, like I have a feeling the first 15 to 20 minutes of this movie is just going to be improvisation.
Yeah, I can see that.
Just sort of having fun.
Yeah.
And then it's right around minute 25, the plot of the movie is going to kick in. It's not going to be much. And they're just going to be, trying to bring her back.
Because Jesse Eisenberg was, kind of narrated the first one.
Yeah, with the rules.
He's got a little bit of that meta perspective.
Yes.
Sort of breaking the fourth wall, kind of. So I could see them opening it up with, so I just, okay, it's been a while since we've seen you guys. Let me update you on some stuff.
Yes.
That
we'll
kind
get
of
some new rules.
New fun stuff.
Just everybody having a good time.
I like that because this to me feels like the next if not final kind of frontier for popular zombie movies. Because the zombie thing has really kind of been done to death.
It really has.
No
even
pun
like
intended.
even the strongholds, the Walking Dead, like people are abandoning.
It's getting to be old. So it's when I was like, all right, if we're going to do this, because I've heard talk of another iteration, another chapter in the Shaun of the Dead series, but that kind of remains to be seen as far as.
I would rather them make another genre film.
I think they're doing. I don't know if it's a TV show. I know they have something else in the works with.
There's another 28. Whatever movie coming out.
Which that was a solid enough franchise that if they made something worthy of that, I would enjoy it. But by and large, just the whole zombie, they flooded the market with it.
Yes.
Some things held on. Walking Dead has done well for a good little while, but
it's fizzling out now.
Yeah,
a lot of friends of mine people who watched it religiously every week are now just not watching it anymore.
Stuff like that's kind of tapering off. So it's when I was like, okay, this still has a little bit of juice in the tank. Let's get a little bit more mileage out of the franchise.
Zombie satire movies aren't a given. Like there's been other ones too. Like there's the Pride and Prejudice versus Zombies, which wasn't good. There was the Abraham Lincoln vampire movie or whatever.
Yeah.
Like those movies aren't a given. Like you have to have really talented people like Jesse Eisenberg and Woody Harrelson just having a good time.
Yeah.
And Emma Stone. Like you need these actors
I watched
to pull that off.
Cooties.
I need to see that. I read that was good.
It was good. It was fun. I wouldn't go to see it in a theater. It was I think it was on HBO, and I was just kind of bored, so I turned it on, and it was. I mean, it was entertaining enough, but it's still one of those like, it's a hard sell in a lot of ways, just because I think what really worked. People come, I think, more for the comedy, and the zombies are just kind of the setting for the story.
Oh, for sure.
So it's one of those like
nobody's gonna die in these movies. I mean, it would just be a real bummer. Except for Bill Murray.
And I think that's the thing is I think people got, when you used to make zombie movies, you made them with a cast that nobody cared. Like it was just all no names because people were going to die.
Had to be no names because you were not supposed to care.
You're not supposed to care because they're going to die.
Right.
The whole point was
like a slasher movie.
Zombies, and they're going to, every time.
I'm sad that this girl with nice cans is going to die.
Exactly.
But, But she got naked just a scene ago, so it's okay.
She's gonna get ripped apart. There's gonna be somebody's gonna gnaw on her spleen.
I don't want to see Emma Stone get killed, man.
You don't want that.
I fucking love her.
So it's like these are characters you can't kill them off.
No.
And and if you do, people are going to get upset and they're not going to want to watch it. It's like, no, I don't want to see Emma Stone get killed. It's like that's why you got to bring in ancillary characters like a Luke Wilson or a Thomas Middleditch because they can get killed.
They can get killed.
And they'll when they get killed, it'll be funny. That's the thing.
Right,
so it's like it won't be
Thomas
like
Middleditch getting eaten alive by zombies. It's gonna be he's gonna do it in a funny way.
So that like it's not gonna like people aren't like, oh my gosh, I'm terrified. Oh, I gotta look away from the screen. It's too gross. It's too grisly. It's like no,
it's a zombie movie you could take your girlfriend to go see. Like she's not gonna get too squeamish.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
It's a fun time. There's actors that you can point to and go, look, those are good actors.
These are good actors. We love these people.
Yeah.
Silicon Valley is a great show.
Zombieland's one of my favorite movies of that decade. I think it was just so out of nowhere and so hilarious. I don't think this one's going to be as good, but I said back then, it's like, if they ever make another Zombieland movie, I'm going to be there. And it's here, and I'm going to be there.
Whoa! Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Hi, I'm Columbus.
Madison.
This is Tallahassee.
Hey, Paul Blart. Is this your dad? Oh, whoopsie. I forgot the seatbelt rule.
Oh, so she knows the rules?
I told her just a few of them.
73. Are there more?
You're cute. I like it.
So, what's your final pick?
My final pick, this one's a little bit off the beaten path.
By the way, Zombieland Double Tag, October 18th. So that's your Halloweenish movie, right?
There's your scary movie for Halloween. Go watch Zombies.
Go laugh your butt off.
So my final pick, this one is definitively off the beaten path.
Okay.
There are a number of it came down to because I had.
Do a couple shout outs if you want. That's fine.
I'll do Zombieland Double Tap was one of my alternatives. Yeah. Dr. Sleep was one of my alternatives. My honorable mentions, Current War.
That looks interesting.
It looks interesting. It's one of those I'm like, I'll catch it when it comes out on DVD.
Michael Shannon, Benedict Cumberbatch. Yeah, it's
Holland,
about the
Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah, he plays Tesla.
Nicholas Hoult is Tesla. Benedict Cumberbatch is Edison.
And Michael Shannon is
Westinghouse.
Westinghouse.
Yeah, so
So here's the thing. That movie was made a couple of years ago.
Yeah, like 2017. Yeah.
Yeah. So that threw me. So why movies that sit on the shelf for a long time like that typically aren't good.
No. So it'll be interesting because it's when I was like, okay, the trailer makes you think it's a really interesting story.
Yeah, it's a good trailer.
And you got some solid actors there.
It's got to be at least worthwhile.
So it's like, okay, but it's when I was like, it's not going to be a huge release. Like it might make it to Baxter Avenue, maybe for a week in some of the bigger theaters, but it's not going to.
I'm honestly shocked they didn't throw it out on digital or streaming or something.
I'm kind of surprised
just because of Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, it's like you could. That
got Doctor Strange in this thing.
I don't know if they're banking on. I mean, you have Doctor
Nicholas
Strange
Hoult and Michael Shannon are not,
and you have Spider-Man.
But Benedict Cumberbatch is for sure a better guy.
And I mean, you got Spider-Man in it too, Tom Holland.
Tom Holland, yeah, he's in it.
So it's like you got some notable actors here, but. And then my last one, the trailers for this just came out the other day. Motherless Brooklyn. Ed Norton wrote and directed it.
Okay, is that the one with Bruce Willis?
Yep.
I want to see that trailer. That looked intriguing.
It's one of those. I'm like it reminds me of the character that Ed Norton played in The Score. With Bobby De Niro, the handicap kid. There's something to his character. He's got some kind of twitch.
He has Tourette's.
Yeah, there's something to him, and he works with Bruce Willis. It looks impressive. It looks like when I was like.
Speaking of burying the hatchet, did you see that Bruce Willis and Kevin Smith also buried the hatchet?
They are back on good terms, which I'm happy about. Makes me happy. Thanks, Bruce. Thanks for doing that.
Thanks, Bruno.
Way to go. The New Jersey kid.
New Jersey's own. Yep. The pride of New Jersey.
Pride of New Jersey. We're pretty sure that's you. We're pretty sure that's the case.
I think he's from
We're going to say that. That's what we're going
Don't check us.
No,
don't even fact check
Just
us,
go with
okay?
it. Just go
Don't
with
even
it.
comment.
Don't look in Snopes.
Leave us comments let us know what your favorite snack is.
Yeah.
Do you like ham? Would you eat it? Would you buy one of those combos with the drink if it were filled with ham?
You would.
Popcorn? Of course you would. You would buy the ham alone. You wouldn't
Totally.
even care about the pit.
Totally.
Friggin' cheap ass tin popcorn bin.
No.
Pardon me, ham bin.
Ham. It's a bin of ham.
But anyways,
So those are all my honorable mentions. So without any further ado, I think it's an appropriate amount of ado.
Just the right amount.
My number 5, Jojo Rabbit.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Well, it's your boy from who directed
it's Taika.
Ragnarok, right?
It's Taika.
Yeah.
And I love me some Taika.
He plays Hitler, am I wrong?
He plays Hitler.
Yeah.
And it's one of those, I'm like, okay, I love the whole, I mean, the trailer is just fun and it's witty and it's total satire. It reads to me a lot like The Death of Stalin, which I enjoyed. It came out a couple years ago as a similar kind of movie where it was a parody of Stalin.
Yeah.
That one didn't go over big, wasn't a huge success. Had some Monty Python guys. Everybody in it was British. It was like all of these Russian guys, and they were all British.
It's a really fun trailer.
It totally is.
It makes you want to see it.
Oh, and that's, I mean, because I love Taika. I love the premise of the satirical look at Hitler. Because it's one of those of like, no one, in this world where
it has a Wes Anderson feel.
It really does. It I mean, that's what, because Things We Do in the Dark, the other one that Taika did about the vampires. He's just
Taika, if you're not familiar, he was the voice actor.
He was the voice of Korg.
From Ragnarok. And he was also He's a funny guy.
Taika, he's in a movie with Ryan Reynolds coming out next year about Ryan Reynolds plays a character who realizes his life is being lived in a video game.
By an NPC in a video game?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Really?
And so Taika's in
More
that
excited to see that
with Ryan Reynolds, so I'm excited about that.
Keep those Ryan Reynolds movies coming.
Taika's he's just a fun guy. He's a witty guy.
He's a playful guy.
I'm like, it's one of those where I'm like, because I like the little guys too. I like the big studio stuff. I like the little guys. I like the off the beaten path stuff. I like the things that are a little bit different. And so this one to me was just like, there's enough. There's the other big studio stuff that I could go with, but I'm like, Taika. This one just, if I got to round out my list, Taika's Jojo Rabbit just does it for me.
It's time to burn some books.
You're growing up too fast. 10-year-olds shouldn't be celebrating war and talking politics.
Heil Hitler. I wish more of our young boys had your blind fanaticism.
I have to admit, that looks like something I would like.
It looks fun.
Should we move on?
Go on. There's
So my honorable mentions are Dolomite Is My Name, the new Eddie Murphy movie coming out from the director of Hustle and Flow, who's going to be directing Coming to America 2. It looks like a return to form for Eddie Murphy. He's another one of those guys who's had a lot of comebacks in him. He hasn't been in hardly anything lately. And
no.
The trailer, it's a Netflix movie.
Because he's got to deal with Netflix right now, right? He's doing a comedy special with them.
There's talk of him doing a new stand-up, so maybe he does have a deal now.
I think because I'm imagining.
I'm thinking maybe this movie was a trial. Like if this works out, we'll give you a. So like he might be the next Adam Sandler to make a big deal. But it looks great. It looks really funny. The scene with Michael Keegan, where he and it's got Wesley Snipes in it. Looks great. I mean, just a great cast. He rips out his intestine. He goes, "God damn, Dolomite!" Like that makes me laugh every single time.
It's sort of like because Rudy Ray Moore as Dolomite back in the 60s, 70s,
nice
70s,
70s,
yeah. Rudy Ray Moore as Dolomite. It's one of those blaxploitation films that it's just. It just lives on in infamy. And because I think there were like 3 or 4 of them that they did with Dolomite.
There was
so
a series of them.
When I was like, Eddie Murphy's going to play Dolomite, I was like, okay, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's just, I'm totally on board with that.
And it's R-rated Murphy. I really feel like if you want to, this may be the best Eddie Murphy movie of all of his comebacks. Like Coming to America 2 might be fun and everything, but if you want to see a good Eddie Murphy, I feel like this is going to be the one.
Yeah.
Because he's really trying with this one. Another one of my shout outs is a movie called The Hunt.
That one, they're not releasing that one.
Oh, they're not?
No.
Why not?
They pulled it because it was
the Blumhouse movie. With Emily. Not Rogers. Roberts. Emma Roberts.
Emma Roberts. Yeah. There's a couple names that they pulled it because the
damn.
There were a lot of people that were excited about it, but it was political. It was a political backlash because it appeared as though the elites were the liberals and the people they were hunting were conservatives, and so the studio balked because there was a lot of pressure, so they pulled it. Because I was really disappointed by
I
that.
didn't really get that from the trailer.
Yeah, I didn't. I think it was a totally made up narrative that doesn't go along with it at all. But there was.
I hope it gets released somehow.
I would like to, if nothing else, if they just release it on digital at some point. I hope that it comes out because
really good.
It looks intriguing.
Yeah. Okay. And Dr. Sleep also, I'm going to give they're really working hard to give it that Kubrick kind of aesthetic, and they're really, going back and they're showing scenes of young Danny, the actual footage, and I think they're shooting new scenes to make it look like the old scenes as well. And so you have Ewan McGregor, who looks like we haven't seen him a whole lot. I think it's going to be fun, and I'm going to be there to see it. But I have doubts because how do you follow up? I mean, you can't fake that aesthetic.
Kubrick had a very distinct feel to it, so it'll be interesting to see. Because
proceeding with caution on that one, it's cautiously optimistic that it'll be good.
It'll be one of those, like, I'm hoping. I feel like it'll either do really well because it'll be really true to the original and update it well, or it'll be a crappy October cash grab at scary movies.
Now, King has been complimentary of it. I think it's also been complimentary of what he's seen.
He's said good things about Dr. Sleep, so that
he doesn't
makes
say just great things about all of his movies. Like, I don't think he said anything about Pet Sematary when it came out. He just sort of ignored that.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be worth waiting. But my fifth movie is going to be the Ford versus Ferrari. I guess it's a biopic, but it's more of just a true story of when Ford took on Ferrari in the Le Mans. And then they actually won when they it was the Shelby. Matt Damon plays Mr. Shelby, Joe Shelby. I don't know what his name is.
Mike Shelby.
I
just made that up.
And Christian Bale, who's just he's awesome and everything. He's pretentious and a shithead.
He's a total dick in real life, but on the screen,
he can act.
He's
great.
fantastic.
He's a great actor. I like that you have Lloyd. Is it Lloyd? Plays I think he plays. Who's the Ayatollah? The president and CEO of Ford during their heyday back in I think it's not Lloyd Bridges, but he was in Dumb and Dumber. Jeff Bridges. Jeff Daniels.
Jeff Daniels.
Thank you. We'll get there eventually. But I really dig. I like movies about. I mean, I like just any true story movie to begin with. But it's just a great cast.
That's why we like Lifetime movies.
Yeah. John Barenthal's in the movie. Josh Lucas. Who I enjoy.
Does this mean he's not doing Home Depot commercials anymore?
No, I guess not.
Dang it.
Or romantic comedies.
Jonathan LaPaglia, is he any relation to Anthony LaPaglia?
Probably.
I really hope so.
I'm going to say yes.
I'm going to look at that because that makes me curious. He's the younger brother of Anthony LaPaglia. Well, that makes me happy.
But James Mangold is directing it, and the last movie he did turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
So of course Logan.
Yes.
But he also did Walk the Line, so he's familiar with these true story type movies. He can make them and do a good job. I think this is the movie that's probably going to overshadow movies like Knives Out.
Yeah,
a lot of people are going to go see this just simply because who's in it.
Yeah, it's Matt Damon. But
yeah, it's November 15th. So it's at a real good sweet spot for a movie like this. And anytime I've been to movies and I've seen trailers, I can hear people commenting that looks good. I want to see that. It's like that. It's going to be a hit. Not a monster hit, but for what it's going for, it's going to eat up. It's going to suck up all the oxygen for movies like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, it's Matt Damon and Christian Bale, acting.
I would like to see Matt Damon reprise his role from Deadpool 2 in this movie.
What about Bumblebee? I would like that.
That's the character I would like to see.
The redneck on the truck.
Yes.
It's just like one of those can't miss holiday movies. A lot of people are going to be interested in seeing it, and it's set in the 60s.
I think so.
Yeah,
it sounds right.
So not a lot of special effects, just cars driving
fast cars. No Vin Diesel.
No Nas, guaranteed.
Suppose Henry Ford II wanted to build the greatest race car the world's ever seen to win the 24 hours of Le Mans. What's it take?
Well, it takes something money can't buy.
Money can buy speed.
What in about speed? You need a pure racer behind the wheel of your car. That's Ken Miles.
I don't trust him an inch.
We heard he's difficult.
No, Ken's a puppy dog.
All right, so those are our 10 movies that we're looking forward to most
Yes.
for September through November, plus a couple extra peppered in there. And
Sprinkled on top, like the croutons of our coming attraction salad.
beautiful.
Thank you.
I can't say it any better.
The
All right, well, that's going to
bacon
bring
bits.
us up to our final segment, which we
Yes.
renamed to Coming Attractions.
Coming attractions.
Yay!
Coming soon to a
And
theater near you.
We're doing the Who Played It
Who
Better.
played it better?
Who Played It Better. So I will go first.
Okay.
I'll reveal to you.
Yes.
Will I be an asshole or will I not? I haven't been an asshole historically with these choices. And I'm not going to be an asshole again. I think this will be fun. One of my favorite comedies of all time from 1992, the Joe Pesci comedy, My Cousin Vinny.
Okay.
I want to see you recast. Now, you tend to be pretty thorough with your castings. You'll go 6, sometimes 7 deep. Here are the people that I want you to cast. Okay, for sure. I want, obviously, Vincent Gambino. You got to do him. We got to do Bill, who was Ralph Macchio's character.
Macchio.
Stan Rothstein, who played his
buddy.
best buddy. Mona Lisa, Vito, obviously. We're going to have her, otherwise known as Aunt May. Judge Chamberlain, you got to have Judge Chamberlain.
Should I just go with John Lithgow? Pet Cemetery.
You could if you wanted to. I could totally see. And then there's District Attorney Trotter, the prosecutor. I mean, those feel like you got to do. I want you to do the Grits witness, the Grits guy. I want you to cast that guy. It's one of my favorite parts of the whole movie.
I'm going to rewatch that movie just in preparation.
Just a fast cook, I guess.
Toyuch.
Yeah. So My Cousin Vinny from 1992. What movie? What classic movie starring children are you going to have me cast?
Baby Geniuses.
Oh no!
You're going to have to
That's
find
not really it, is
new,
it?
No,
Oh,
new
good
baby
Lord.
actors.
Hot baby actors in Hollywood. I gotta really think of new search terms.
Would
Less
be,
incriminating search terms.
that would be fantastic. I should have done that.
We weren't
Baby
able to
Genius.
make it to episode 14 of the Cinemasters
Ron
universe.
was arrested.
His computer and everything was confiscated.
Oops.
What's the real choice?
So I figured I would take it a little easier on you this time and do Back to the Future.
Okay, Back to the Future. So
Back to the Future.
A classic
it's a
movie.
classic.
Yeah.
But it's one of I think you could have a lot of fun. It's like because you've got Marty and Jennifer and Doc, and then you got Marty's parents. I'm interested to see a Crispin Glover replacement.
Yeah,
and
because
then,
I have to pick people who are young enough to play old and
yes,
young.
and then Biff. I'm excited to find a new Biff.
So those are the must-haves.
Yeah,
if I want to go I don't go the extra mile like you do. Oh, I also want you to do director. Got to give me directors too.
New director. All right,
for you. I mean, for me, whatever. Maybe I'll come up with the director.
Michael Bay directs.
Robert Zemeckis. Michael Bay. Yeah, right. Fucking your childhood once again.
Yeah,
just ramming it hard dry.
Raw
dogging it.
Why does the DeLorean keep blowing up?
Yeah, the trail of flames are just explosions.
Just he hits 88 miles per hour and all the buildings explode.
What did the DeLorean just transform? Just transforms into like an F-16. What the hell?
How do I get back to 1985? No idea, kid.
It doesn't matter. Look at that explosion.
That
Look
was
at
so cool.
That was badass. Oh my god.
All right. So
What's Michael Bay's expression like? Remember we were talking about Zack Snyder. It's just got to be cool.
Yeah.
It's got to be cool. With him, it's just got to explode.
I could see him like if Michael Bay somebody's like, all right, Michael Bay, what's your new movie? He's like, picture this. Boom.
Kaboom the movie.
Kaboom.
He's gonna make Duke Kaboom.
Yes.
The movie. That's what he's gonna do.
I would be okay with that.
Reeves. All right. That was fun.
That is a good time.
That's gonna take us right up until episode. Oh, we mentioned Octopussy. Did we say pussy? Did we say pussy?
Octopussy.
Pussy.
Big pussy from
Pussy.
from
Eight
the
pussies.
Sopranos.
Yeah, big pussy.
The Sopranos. Yeah.
I'm a bad parent. We have a couple of stuffed animals, one for our 2 kids, our young children. There's an owl and a cat, and I named I named the owl Fat Albert. That seemed pretty harmless. I insist on calling the cat Big Pussy because it's a big pussy cat.
I told you at the beginning, at the top of the hour. I was like, it's a lady with 8 cats.
Lady with 8 cats. Just big 8 fat pussies.
Fat, big old fat cats.
I love The Sopranos.
Feline.
I rewatch that.
I was actually thinking about it the other day. I was like, I should
Such
go
a
back.
daunting thing to rewatch.
It is.
Because those episodes are fat.
It is.
They're fat with content.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Paulie Walnuts. He's my
Paulie
favorite.
Walnuts was not a character.
Paulie Walnuts. Yeah, he was.
Who was
Tony
he?
Sirico. Paulie Walnuts.
Was that his name? Paulie Walnuts?
Paulie Walnuts.
It's like Paulie. All right.
Paulie
Paulie
Walnuts.
Walnuts sounds made up.
Tony Sirico played Paulie Walnuts.